Hello everyone, this is Mike's Toontown, and I guess I'm going through with this, aren't I? Yes, I know I did one of these last year, I think in June or July or something, but I thought, you know what? The collection is bound to change every year. Why not try making it a tradition at the end of every year? As if I don't have enough traditions I do every year as it is. But hey, screw it, we're going to try it out. If it doesn't work out, then it'll be just a rare thing that happens every so often, I guess, but, I don't know. Anyways, I might as well mention, if you have not seen the collection video from 2024, don't bother watching it, as this is just basically going to be the same thing, albeit with some new additions and such. Then again, some games I don't own anymore, so I guess if you really want to. But I'm saying you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. You can just watch this one and we'll be alright. And then secondly, for anyone who is not familiar with my channel, I typically specialize in licensed games because of the show that I do, the gaming series I do. In question, it's all about playing crappy games for the most part. So, yeah, keep that in mind before you go questioning what the frick I'm doing here. But yeah, let's not beat around the bush. Let's get right to it. I'm going to start with physical games, and then we're going to go on to, like, digital, and then there you go. Actually, I guess we could start up here. I have this thing. This is not a game, obviously. This is more like a toy, but it's linked to a game, so I thought, why the heck not? This is the Mario Kart Live Home Circuit Mario set. I bought this, actually, recently, because it was the only other Mario Kart thing I didn't have. Box has seen better days, but I don't really give a crap, because how often am I going to be playing this thing? I've always been curious about this, but the more I thought about it, it was more like a kid's toy, so I just didn't bother getting it. But, I just thought, screw it, let's try and find one on eBay, and it works, so I can't complain. The software does not come with this, but it is, for free. But you need this to play it, so, yeah. Not much to say there. Oh, and then, yeah, Muppet Frankenberry is, like, the best game ever made. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Let's get to the real meat and potatoes here. So starting out, we have some PAL region PS2 games, because I have a modified PS2 that can play these. First up is Garfield. It was published by Hip Games and developed by the Code Monkeys, who I think do very terrible games. Highly addictive gameplay for the entire family. Big fat hairy deal. Yeah, no. I'm not going to really spend too much details on games unless I have something interesting to say about them. Moving on, we have Garfield 2. I guess in my region it would be called Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. This is the PS2 version, which we did not get here in the US. It was published by the Game Factory and developed by Asobo Studios. Not much to say there. Moving on, we have Garfield Al Rescue de Arlene. I guess it's some French thing, I guess, or I don't know what language that is. I think it's French. This translates to Garfield Saving Arlene. The English version of this game, at least the cover, is expensive as all hell. I don't know why. The game itself is not worth like $200, in my opinion. But I got this one, which is basically the same region, so it has the English dub. I got this for $30. So, I mean, yeah, I think people need to stop selling the English copy for, like, that insane amount. It was published by Hip Games and developed by, that right there, Ecosystem. Interesting. Moving on here, we have Monsters, Inc. Scare Island. This is the, I guess, Scare Island in our region would be called Scream Team. This is the PS2 version, which we did not get here in the US. It was published by Disney Interactive and developed by Artificial Mind and Movement, who did the PlayStation version. We'll get to that later. We did end up getting a Monsters, Inc. game on PlayStation 2, which followed the movie. I don't remember who developed that and who published it. I used to own it physically, but I got rid of it when I remembered that I actually had it digitally on PS3, so no point keeping that. Here we have Wacky Races Mad Motors. This game is probably one of the worst kart racing games I've ever played. It was developed by one of those companies. I'm not too sure. Mastertronic or Coyote Games or whatever the heck that is. And then it was published by Blast. Blast is very infamous in the PAL region or among people in Europe back in the day because, Sony of Europe was not as protectful with the PlayStation 2 in terms of quality assurance, especially once the PS3 became the big headliner. So a lot of shit like this, hit the store shelves. And, it was a mess. Moving on, we have Barnyard for PS2. This is actually, it's not my go-to version. It's a fine version. I actually do like this game. It was developed by Blue Tongue Entertainment and published by THQ. Very nice, very nice. Moving on, we have the Jimmy Neutron game, Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius for PlayStation 2. This one was developed by Big Sky Interactive and published by THQ. It's kind of funny that I just pulled out Barnyard and Jimmy Neutron because it was, I want to point out this video is being recorded on December 11th. And just the other day when I'm recording this, or I guess yesterday, Jeff Garcia, who voiced Sheen and Pip, passed away suddenly at the age of 50. So that's, yeah, that hit a little hard. That's kind of sad, but, yeah, he will most certainly be remembered. But yeah, just kind of, I had to mention that in a video, of course. Then we have Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island. I've come to grow more attached to this game. I used to like Attack of the Toy Bots as my number one, but I kept hearing people say it was like garbage, and I was just like, I don't remember that, so I replayed it. I'm like, I just forgot that this part and that part, yeah, basically, shit happens. Developed by Blue Tongue Entertainment, published by THQ. What else is new? Here's Nicktoons Movin', and the only iToy game I own. Probably the only one I'd ever care about, really. Actually, I don't really care about this game. Don't take that out of context. Here is, it was published by THQ and developed by, it doesn't say it, but I think it was developed by Mass Media, who did some party games, which we'll get to. Here's the PS2 version of Nicktoons Unite. I did grow up with this version of the game. This is not my childhood copy, but, you know, I found actually, no, it is. Is it? Yeah, it is. It is my childhood copy, but I think I bought the disc for it because it was missing the disc. I don't remember. Was that? That might have been something entirely. That might have been an entirely different game. But yeah, point is, I have this. It was developed by, again, Blue Tongue Entertainment, published by THQ. What else is new? Here's a very odd addition to my collection. Pets Dogs 2, published by Ubisoft and developed by Cryware. I don't know if they were the ones that actually developed the game. Yeah, despite what this may look like, this is actually some, like, adventure game with a lot of fetch quests. Get it? Fetch quests. It's a dog. You know, I'm just kidding. No, that's, I want to point out that there was a cats version of this game that was exactly the same thing, just with cats instead of dogs. So, that joke doesn't really make a lot of sense now, does it? I only own this because, I grew up playing this game with my sister, so there's that. It's, yeah, I think the DS one was like a, more in line with a pet simulator. Here's Rocket Power Beach Bandits. As always, you know my stance on Rocket Power. I don't feel the need to go into detail about it. I own all of these blasted games because I thought, well, it was by Rugrats. It was made by the same people who made Rugrats. It has to be good. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. My opinion, at the very least. Published by THQ, developed by Evolution Games. I don't think they did anything else other than this. So, yeah, there's that. Then we have Rugrats Royal Ransom, published by THQ and developed by Avalanche Software, who would later go on to do, like, Disney Infinity and Tak and the Power of Juju. Would you believe me if I said this was my first game? Yeah, I know, I'm pathetic. I told you. I told you. My standards are set way too low. We need to make that very clear here. I will say this is not a great game by any means, but I do have a personal attachment to it, so make what you will of that. Moving on, we have some Shrek here. We got Shrek Smash and Crash Racing. I said that too fast. Smash and Crash Racing. This one's fine. Published by Activision and developed by Taurus Games. Is that how you say it? I have no idea. But yeah, that one's all right. Then we have Battle for Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom on PlayStation 2. This is not my go-to version, but it was the version I grew up with, so there's that. It was published by THQ and developed by Heavy Iron Studios. Nice, nice. I don't care what anyone says. Here we have SpongeBob Creature from the Krusty Krab, which I think is turning 20 next year. That's crazy. Published by THQ and developed by Blitz Games. Very nice. I think this was the first SpongeBob game released in Japan. Not sure about this version. At least the Wii version, to my knowledge, was. Then we have the infamous one, Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. This is the PS2 version. It was published by THQ and developed by, it doesn't say, but it was Big Sky Interactive. I think it was their last game. Then we have SpongeBob's Atlanta SquarePants, based on the special. It was published by THQ and developed by Blitz Games. I didn't mean to zoom in like that, my bad. There you go. Not much to say there. And then we have Tak and the Power of Juju. Gosh, yeah, if you don't know that, Tak started out as a game before he was a show. Developed by Avalanche Software and published by THQ. Not much to say there. Here we have Jimmy Neutron, Jet Fusion. I always knew about this game as a kid, but I only got it like a few years ago, and I not too crazy about it. I think it was developed by, I don't remember the name of the company, but it was developed by the same people who did like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, if I remember. For like the 5 people who know who that character is, I sure as hell don't. But yeah, it was published by THQ at the very least, so there's that. Then we move on to The Simpsons Skateboarding, which is easily the worst game I've ever played in my whole entire life. It was published by EA. I think last time I accidentally said it was published by Fox Interactive, even though, like, you know, EA is clearly in the center. Well, then again, like, I could easily miss that. Then again, I think Looney Tunes Back in Action had the same thing, so maybe that was my fault. And it was developed by the Code Monkeys. No wonder why it's the worst game in the world. So, at least in my opinion, honestly, I hate this game. So many hours of my life had been wasted trying to beat this game. I think eventually I did, but that was not a satisfying experience. Never, ever. I've had some people asking me, you're going to cover this at some point, right? Like, oh, he's totally going to cover it now. No, just for the record, people, this is a game that I will never cover. Never, ever, as long as I live. I would rather die instead of cover this game. I'm dead serious about that. Okay, maybe that's a little too far, but still, this is a game that I will never cover. Not even a one-off. I feel like a one-off would probably go a lot smoother than a Let's Play, but a Let's Play, oh, no, never. Never. But then we have Toy Story 3 for PlayStation 2. This is a port of the PSP game, which we'll get to. It was published by Disney. I'm not really sure what the heck Disney's situation was, honestly. Never really picked up on that. And this version was developed by Asobo Studios. So, yeah. It's not much to say. It's a very straightforward game. Here's Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure. Published by Ubisoft and developed by Phoenix Studios. Yeah, this game never left the collection. I think I got it as like an Easter gift one year, and it just never left my my collection. Oh well, I mean, hey, why the heck not? I guess just keep it for shits and giggles. I think I covered this game like 2 years ago. I don't remember, but yeah, that's just a weird little one in the collection. Then we have some PSP games. We have SpongeBob the Yellow Avenger. I don't have a lot of PSP games. I actually did sell my PSP recently because it was a 1000 model. I've been trying to get on the ball and get a 2000 or 3000 model so I can finally play some of these games for my gaming series. But yeah, that kind of hit the back burner. So yeah, maybe in due time, maybe one day. It was developed by Tintal. How do you say that? I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, they yeah, that's who developed them. And it was published by THQ. This is a interesting game, to say the least. Not great, but whatever. We have the PSP version of SpongeBob's Truth or Square. It's kind of a port of the console game, which we'll get to, except it is a little different and has 2 additional levels. This version was tackled by Barking Lizards, interesting name, and was published by THQ. What else? Then we have the PSP version of Toy Story 3. This version, I hope did I say Toy Story 2 for this one? Sorry, it's a PlayStation 2. That's what's confusing me. I just dropped the game. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think if I remember correctly, this version actually has DLC, which came with this version of the game. I think eventually Disney or somebody actually had ported this to consoles, like PS4 and PS5, but it was this version, not this version, so you don't get the DLC with that one, which is really stupid. I think it was because they were porting a bunch of other PSP games, so they just thought, I don't know, it's just kind of a stupid reason. So yeah, not much to say there since it's the same game. Here we have some Switch games. First up we have Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. This was, obviously the original game was developed by, I think, Next Level Games, if I'm right. Or was it? I think it was Next Level Games. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this particular version of the game was tackled by, again, I don't know, same people who did Yellow Avenger. That's no joke. It's actually the same people who did that. Is the cartridge... Sorry for the sloppy nature of this video. That's just bound to happen. But yeah, and then of course it was published by Nintendo, obviously, because who else would do it? I mean, it's freaking Luigi. Who else was gonna do it? On the subject of Luigi, here is Luigi's Mansion 3. It's good. It's really hard for me to tell who developed these games, because Nintendo never, like, puts, like, the developer in, like, the opening credits or, like, anything like that. It's always in, like, the end credits you find out who developed the game, which I know is a thing that a lot of people despise about Nintendo. One of the many. Yeah, but Luigi's Mansion 3 was a great time. I like Luigi's Mansion 3. Moving on, we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Probably, objectively, it is the best Mario Kart game. I have another one, of course, but we'll get to that when we do. Obviously, Nintendo was the one to thank for this. Was there anyone else involved with this one? I don't remember. I don't think so. I could be wrong, though. Probably the best, yeah, objectively the greatest one, only because of the amount of content and such. And the DLC definitely boosted that. I guess that's why it's called the Booster Course Pass. Did I just pick up on that just now? Wow. Okay, you just noticed that live, or at least on camera. Think of how lucky you are. Okay, no, maybe it's not so lucky, but yeah. Put a lot of hours into that one. Moving on, we have Super Mario 3D All-Stars. What is the point of this? Is this still worth anything? I mean, especially when you consider the fact that, you know, Super Mario 64 is on NSO. They ported Mario Galaxy to Switch with the second game. And then Sunshine, well, I mean, it's supposed to be coming to NSO at some point, but, that hasn't happened yet. I mean, not that people are complaining, obviously, because it is Sunshine we're talking about here. It's a collection, let's just say that. Limited run. Mario died. I don't know how many people remember that, but yeah. That was the thing that people were saying when the game got discontinued. Here's Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury was really good, but I do like 3D World as well. This port was from 2021, I want to say. Yes, 2021. Yeah, I guess I kind of bought it just to see Bowser's Fury, but eventually I did get around to replaying Super Mario 3D World, and that was loads of fun, especially with friends. So yeah, that's a good one. Moving on, we have Super Mario Brothers Wonder. This was an alright game. I did 100% it, within, like, within the time it came out. So there is that. And, you know, memes aside, this marked the debut of, Kevin Afghani as Mario and Luigi. He does a fine job with them, if you ask me. I think Daisy also got recast, but I don't know, I forgot who the new person is. Nintendo's been recasting a lot of their characters. They did it with Peach recently. So, yeah. This one was fine. Bosses were really bad, like New Super Mario Brothers-esque, and I think they announced DLC with the Koopalings. So, yeah, they're basically turning this into New Super Mario Brothers, Wii or U, so, yeah, count me out of that. I'm not interested. Moving on, we have Super Mario Maker 2. I only did one video for this game. That's kind of bad. That was 2023, I think I did. Let me know if you want to see another Mario Maker, or another Super Mario Maker 2, whatchamacallit, another Super Mario Maker 2 video. I don't know. I can't promise that it will happen right away, but I'll consider it at the very least. But yeah, for these Nintendo games, I don't really feel the need to say anything since it's mainly Nintendo. This next one, though, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the ultimate fighting game. Everyone from the previous game included. That is very nice, including some very desirable characters like King K. Rool. So, yeah. I've screwed up before, and I have to blame the first two games. I said before that all the Smash Brothers games were developed by HAL Laboratories. It was only the first two. This was developed by, I believe, Sora. Yeah, there it is, actually right there. It said, this one says it. Wow, I have no excuse. Yeah, Sora is the company led by Sakurai, because he left HAL Laboratories. But yeah, this is a fan-stinking-tastic fighting game right here. And yeah, not much to say that. I mean, if you haven't played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where the hell have you been? But hey, looky here, we got some Switch 2 games. Yeah, I got two of them. Yeah, I guess I don't look for much. But here's Donkey Kong Bonanza, probably the greatest game that happened this year. I would love to get into detail, but unfortunately, I can't. Nintendo, of course. I think it was the same team at Nintendo who made Super Mario Odyssey, which it really shows. Dude, you could break anything in this game. This gives freaking Minecraft a run for its money. Sure, you can't craft anything, but I think it's more satisfying. I get more satisfying breaking shit in this game than I do in Minecraft. Let's just say that. I know that's a horrible comparison to make, but yeah, please, if you have a Switch 2 and you've not played Bonanza, I'm afraid I don't know you. Get out there and play Bonanza now. Here's Mario Kart Worlds. Enough said. Sorry, that was the Mario Kart fan inside me, sorry. You gotta understand, I've been waiting 11 years for the next big Mario Kart game, and this one did not deliver in my eyes. I mean, at the end of the day, it is still Mario Kart. I can't complain about that. Free roam is interesting, especially with missions, but there's just the little things. And especially when you have another Mario Kart game that is way more filled with content and a lot more replay value, if you ask me, I think it's clear that, I'd rather spend $85 on a game that has a shit ton of content rather than $80 that has very little to offer. And roster's pretty lousy. The tracks, I'd argue, some of them are cool, but a lot of them I just argue aren't that memorable. Yeah, this game was not, nope. This was the disappointer of the year, if you ask me. And I don't even think DLC will save it. I don't know, knowing Nintendo, they'll probably make DLC for something, and then make it a $100 plus game. And then the whole internet will shit itself, and then we're gonna start World War III. That's what's gonna happen. Moving down to shelf number 2. This is all Xbox games. I have a ton of these, don't I? So let's start here. Here's the one that was not in the previous collection video. Conker Live and Reloaded. This is the remake of Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is from 2005. Obviously, it was developed by Rare and published by Microsoft. If I remember correctly, I think when they marketed this game, it was never about the remake. It was always about, like, the new online mode. Or I guess they replaced the multiplayer. I caught that. Haha. It was about the multiplayer mode, basically. It had online, of course. There you go. So, yeah, this is the only original Xbox game I own that is backwards compatible on Series X. So there's that. Not much to say there. Then we have Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. This game is not that great. It was published by Universal Interactive. I think some versions of the game were published by Konami. I don't remember. And it was developed by Traveler's Tales. This one's been in my backlog, and it's probably going to stay there for a while. That game is just kind of in my opinion. Moving on, we have Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. With Toy Story and Beyond, and a weird-looking Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, this one's fine. I think it was developed by NeverQuest, published by. Oh no, it wasn't. No. It was primarily developed by Toys for Bob. I don't know what NeverQuest did, but NeverSoft. Man, I'm screwing up a lot today. It was published by Activision. I think it actually used the. Actually, it says here it used the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 engine. So this one's pretty good, actually. Not much to say there. Moving on, we have Ed, Edd n Eddy: The Misadventures. Not much to say about this one. Honestly, I don't really have much to say about it. It was published by Midway and developed by Artificial Mind and Movement. So there's that. Here's the Family Guy game, published by 2K and developed by High Voltage Software, who did Lego Racers and Nicktoons MLB. The latter of which we'll get to, not the former. Monotonous. That's all I can say about this game. There is some funny stuff, obviously. The cutaway mini games are hilarious, but like other than that, it's monotonous. I can't see myself ever playing that. Then we have Lego Star Wars, of course. The one that started it all, at least the trend. Obviously, it was developed by Traveler's Tales. They were still called Traveler's Tales at this point. They weren't calling themselves TT Games. At least not to my knowledge. Maybe, I forgot. I haven't played this one in a while, maybe, in the game. I don't remember. It was published by one of them. I can't pronounce those. I'm sorry. Then we have Loons, The Fight for Fame. This is a Looney Tunes fighting game. It's exclusive to Xbox, but it doesn't say it, which is weird. I don't know if they were doing that at the time, but whatever. It's published by Infogrames. I'm really iffy about those guys. And it was developed by Warthog Games. So, yeah, this is not the only Looney Tunes game they did. Haven't given this one a fair shot. This one's been in the backlog for a while, so Not much to say about that one. If I can just put it back. Then we have Madagascar. I think, funny story about this, I think I got this game as an Easter gift in like, for the PS2 back in the day. I wanted Ice Age 2, but they gave me this instead. I don't know, I've never been crazy about Madagascar, like the movies. But this game, I found myself playing this more as a kid than I saw the movie, so there's that. I replayed it recently out of curiosity, and obviously, it did not age well for me. It has a great mini golf game, though. There's that. It was published by Activision and developed by Toys for Bob, so there's that. Then we have Nickelodeon Party Blast, one of the worst Nickelodeon games I've ever played. It was developed by Data Design, who is infamous for a lot of crappy shovelware games, especially on the Wii, and it was published by Infogrames. The less we talk about this one, the better my life will be. Moving on, we have Ratatouille for Xbox. This is not the version they were advertising. That was like the next-gen version on like 360, which we'll get to. This one was developed by Asobo Studios with the assistance of Heavy Iron. Heavy Iron, or at least, or is it the other way around? I'm not sure. Heavy Iron were the primary developers for like the main game that they were advertising back in the day. I think this one's better, actually. Not great, but better. It was an exclusive to GameStop and EB Games, and that is a part of the art. It is not a sticker. So thank you to whoever did that. That's definitely the smartest thing you ever did, you piece of shit. Moving on from that, we have Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem. I did a Let's Play for this last year. It's kind of a Luigi's Mansion-esque game. Or is it more like that or Ape Escape? I guess that's, you know, depending on your point of view, I suppose. But, yeah, this one's all right. Not great, but all right. It was developed by Artificial Mind and Movement and published by THQ. So, there's that. And then we have probably the most well-known Scooby-Doo game, Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. This was published by THQ and developed by Heavy Iron Studios. So, yeah, there's that. And then we have Scooby-Doo Unmasked. This one was published by THQ and developed once again by Artificial Mind and Movement. It features Adam West, which is interesting. That's nothing compared to this one. This one had like Don Knotts, Tim Curry, and Tim Conway. So, and that wasn't even a selling point. Was that a selling point? No, it wasn't a selling point. What? Dude, you have way more celebrities in this one, but that's not a selling point. Unless they were trying to make it a surprise or something. Whatever. Here's Shrek on Xbox. This is the only launch title for the Xbox I own, which is, pretty sad. It was, published by TDK, Media Active. This was around the time that they had the rights to Shrek, video games, and it was gloriously shit back then. It was developed by, DICE, who were better known for, like, the Star Wars Battlefront games or something. Is that Battlefront or Battlefield? They did something else that was called Battlefield. I don't know. You know me, I don't pay attention to all these fancy companies and what they do now. Is DICE even still a thing, actually? I'm not sure. It's a nice-looking game, but the game itself is, pretty lousy, actually. I did a Let's Play for it. That's how much it sucked. I think it went incomplete, too. Whether or not I'll ever properly go back and finish that, I have no idea. Probably never. Just whatever. Here's Shrek 2 for Xbox. This was after Activision picked up the rights. Kind of funny that they did a little bit better with Shrek than TDK did, given their reputation. I don't know, maybe TDK had a more infamous reputation and I'm just unaware of it. This version was developed by Luxoflux, and I've never seen that, actually. Oh, it's a coupon thing. Okay, that has nothing to do with the game. I'm willing to bet that did not come with this copy that I got, so I got ripped off. No, whatever, I don't even know what that company is. So, yeah, not much to say there. It's a beat-em-up game. Moving on, we have Shrek Super Party, another Shrek game from TDK. This is a party game, you couldn't tell. Probably another worst one I've played. Not as bad as Party Blast, but still pretty bad. It was developed by Mass Media, so yeah, don't play that one. Just don't. Then we have Shrek Super Slam. This is a Shrek fighting game. They just seem to knock out all the genres that Shrek could be slapped into. This is not the first Shrek fighting game. I think the first one was actually, on the Game Boy Color from TDK. I think it was Fairy Tale Freakdown was what it was called. I don't own that one. Probably never will. This version was published by Activision and developed by Shaba Games. I think that's how you pronounce it. Heard they didn't like making this game, which is interesting to say the least, because I think a lot of people have fond memories with that one. I don't remember. The story mode cutscenes were freaking hilarious in that, especially like Gingy with freaking MTV cribs or something. Here's Spider-Man 2 on Xbox. Obviously that was published by Activision and developed by that company, which I cannot read. Treyarch, I think it's what it's called. Yeah, I think so. I could be wrong, but whatever. Moving on from that, we have Battle for Bikini Bottom on Xbox. This is my definitive version. It was published by THQ once again, developed by Heavy Iron. Why am I saying that? We already know who did that. I shouldn't even repeat myself for these ports. God damn it. Okay, here's Lights Camera Pants, SpongeBob Lights Camera Pants on Xbox, published by THQ and developed by THQ Studio in Australia. Very nice. This game turned 20 this year, and it's a very underrated party game, if you ask me. Especially like the Mermaid Man movie in this is hilarious. So, yeah. Here's TAC 2, The Staff of Dreams. This one's in my backlog. So, yeah. I have too many games in my backlog, people. This was published by THQ and developed by Avalanche Software. I gotta stop doing that, for God's sake. Jesus Christ. Moving on, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, based on the 2003 series. This one was published by Konami and developed by... I don't know, did Konami develop this one? I'm not so sure. Pretty monotonous. I don't know. This one's also in my backlog. I don't see myself returning to this one anytime soon. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Also, Konami. Was this... There has to be like somebody else who developed this. I don't know. So, I don't know. It includes the Ninja Turtles arcade game, except it has completely different music, so it's not worth it. Plus, you have to go through like the whole game to get it, to my knowledge. I don't know. So, yeah, this is also another one in my backlog. I used to have this, I think, on PlayStation 2 growing up, but never really got far in it. I think my sister primarily played this one. So, yeah. Then we have A Cat in a Hat, based on the Mike Myers movie. This was published by Vivendi Universal and developed by Magenta Studios, Magenta Games. I don't know which one it is. I've had this one on the to-do list for a while. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. I think I was supposed to do it this year, but shit happened and I didn't do it. So who knows when that will actually happen. Here we have Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules. This was published by THQ and developed by Blitz Games. This one was exclusive to North America, I believe, so nobody else outside of the US got this, or outside of North America got this, I should say. So, yeah, that's just a little fact for you. Then we have The Incredibles game, published by THQ and developed by Heavy Iron. This one has always been in my backlog. I've had this game, even like the PlayStation 2 version I grew up with, but I just never beat this game. I don't know, I guess I just don't really want to. It's not that fun, honestly. It gets pretty repetitive, and checkpoints are very sparing here, which is not a good thing. Is that the right term? You know what I mean. They're very, very much not there half of the time. So, yeah, no. Here's a good one. The Simpsons Hit and Run, published by Vivendi Universal and developed by Radical Entertainment. Am I saying that right? Vivendi. I think that's how you say it, yeah. I don't know, that's how I'm going to say it. Yeah, probably, it's arguably one of the best Simpsons games ever made. I did a Let's Play for this a few years ago, back in 2023. That went really well. A lot of people want a remake of this game. I heard that EA, who owns the Simpsons rights, who owned the Simpsons rights to games, heard they lost it recently, and there hasn't been any word on them renewing it, so I don't know if that's a sign. I mean, I've heard what they did with Fortnite and The Simpsons, so I heard that was pretty substantial, so I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Cross your fingers, I hope. I don't know if that means anything, but oh well. And then here we have The Simpsons Road Rage. This was also developed by Radical Entertainment, but it was published by EA. Speak of the devil. This one is not as beloved as Hit and Run. I do enjoy it, but I do see why a lot of people hate it. It's very monotonous. You're doing the same thing over and over again. It's a Crazy Taxi clone. So much so, in fact, that Sega actually sued EA and Radical Entertainment, or one of them. I don't know. Maybe Fox got involved too. I'm not so sure. But yeah. I think the game... Did the game get recalled? I don't remember. I might have been mishearing things there, but I thought I remember hearing something about the game getting recalled. But I don't know. That might be... I might be entirely wrong on that. you guys will have to let me know on that. But yeah, that's Simpsons Road Rage. You may notice I haven't done a round for this in a while. Yeah, oopsie gravy. Maybe at some point in the future. I'm not so sure. I guess that's just kind of a in the past, I suppose. But who knows? Maybe round 4 of that will come someday. Then we have the SpongeBob movie game for Xbox. This is published by THQ and developed by Heavy Iron Studios. This is another SpongeBob game that's often regarded as one of the best ones. Also somewhat infamous because it's also regarded as one of the hardest SpongeBob games. I think a friend of mine is actually doing a Let's Play for this right now, KRS Studios. So make sure you go check that out. I'll have to remember to leave that linked in the description. He's also doing a really good Let's Play for Bonanza, so please go check him out. He does funny gaming videos. So yeah, wherever you stand on this game, it is most certainly an interesting one to say the least. Let me try and get it back in there. Here we go. Now here's a game I've wanted to try and get for a while, but I just never got around to. Tom and Jerry in War of the Whiskers. This is a Tom and Jerry fighting game with a T rating. Yeah, that's just funny. It was published by New Kid Co. and developed by Vice Interactive, or Entertainment. Vice Entertainment. This is definitely an interesting one. This is the Xbox version, or the GameCube version, I'd say, is the better option than, like, the PS2 version. Because PS2 version is a CD game, and it only goes up to, like, 2 players, and it's missing some modes. So, yeah. This version actually has some... This game in general has some weird characters. Like, you know, you got Tom, you got Jerry, you got Nibbles, or I guess Tuffy, as some people call him. And then Tyke and all that. But then you have, like, the Lion from Jerry and the Lion. You have the Eagle from Flirty Birdie. Like, very, very odd choices for characters. And I think that robot cat right there is from a Chuck Jones Tom and Jerry short, not like a Hanna-Barbera one. So that's a little confusing, wouldn't you say? But, yeah, I mean, it's an average fighting game. I can't say much about it. It's technically a sequel, but we'll get to that when we do. Then we have Wallace and Gromit in Project Zoo. This was published by BAM Entertainment and developed by, what is that company? Frontier, I think it's what it's called. I think Aardman Animation had a hand in this, so that's pretty neat. This featured the return of Feathers McGraw before Vengeance Most Foul happened, so you could say this was Vengeance Most Foul before Vengeance Most Foul happened, so that's just a funny thing I wanted to share there. So, yeah, there's that. Moving down here, we have some cartridge games and some complete in box games for these cartridge-based console things. That didn't come out so well. You know me, my vocabulary is shit. Let's just start with the NES over here. First up we have Double Dare, based on the Nickelodeon game show, of course, from this game was from 1990, obviously. I think this is not the first version. I think there was a Commodore 64 version in, like, 1989. I don't remember. This version was developed by Rare and published by GameTech. This is terrible. Yeah, Rare, I'm sure, like, most people know that most of Rare's games from, like, the early days weren't that great, especially their licensed ones. So, yeah, what can you say about that? And here we have Super Mario Brothers. There's a lot we can say about this one. I actually did do a Let's Play, not a Let's Play, but a gameplay video for this year, because the game had turned 40 years old. So that's pretty cool if you ask me. So, yes, not much to say there. Then we have Super Mario Brothers 2, arguably the game that made Mario a superstar in America. I'm sure that opinion is just kind of like, you know, opinionated now, but back then it was a pretty big deal. One thing I must clarify with this game, as some of y'all may know, this was originally a game called Doki Doki Panic in Japan. I've jokingly said before that a franchise died for this game to happen. When in actuality, I didn't know this, Doki Doki Panic actually is a licensed game. Yeah, Nintendo used to make licensed games, if you could believe that. And that was one. It was meant to tie in with a Japanese convention. I think it was called, like, Yumi Kojo. And the characters in Doki Doki Panic, the main characters, were a part of that. So, yeah, pardon me for being a filthy American. The problem was a lot of historians didn't really bring up much detail about the characters and, you know, the details about Doki Doki Panic. So I found that out, like a year ago or something, after I made the game collection video of that year. And, yeah, that was a big, that was the greatest screw-up of all time, if you ask me. But, I mean, hey, I learned something. Yeah, this used to be a licensed game. They made it a Mario game, and history was made, I suppose. Have the have those characters from that convention ever been used for anything else other than that convention and Doki Doki Panic? I'm not so sure. Somebody let me know. That's a thinker right there. I never really thought about that until just now. But here's probably one of Mario's greatest games on the NES, Super Mario Bros. 3. A lot of memorable things in this game. Obviously Nintendo, as always. Haven't said it for those other games, obviously, because it's obvious. 1990 for us, although I think it was 1988 for Japan. So, yeah. Then we have some Super Nintendo games loose down here. First up, we have Mario Paint, which got added to NSO this year, which is surprising. Never thought they'd do that, but I guess it was because of the Joy-Con 2 controllers having mouse controls. So, yeah. And it's also, the game on NSO is actually compatible with a USB mouse, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, color me surprised. And it wouldn't be the last mouse game they added. Here we have Super Mario Kart, the first Mario Kart game ever made. This is one of those games, obviously, you had to be there to really appreciate it because it was the first of its kind. I wasn't there, so I don't really care for this one that much. But, funny story, I finally figured out how the drifting works in this game. It's like completely opposite from what you would usually do in a Mario Kart game. To the point where I can beat it. It's just that I don't know if it will end well in a Let's Play because I'm trying to focus on character voices, too, so I don't know. This one is now on the table, but I'm not sure how it will play out. Some lives might have to be spent. That's all I'm saying. And then we have Super Mario World, probably one of the greatest Mario games ever made. Introduced the Yosh, obviously. This was a launch title, I believe, for the system, so that's like 1991. So, yeah, I love Super Mario World. Super Mario World is a great game. Moving on, we have some N64 games here. First up, we have Banjo-Kazooie, one of the greatest collectathons ever made. This was developed by Rare, of course, during the time that they were second-party developers for Nintendo. So a lot of their IPs were affiliated with them for the time being. I think I screw up and said they owned them at one point. Nintendo never owned them. I think that was a confusion from somebody else who said something. So you could blame another historian for my mistake. Ah ha ha ha. It always makes me feel good when I can do that because at least it doesn't make me look like a complete idiot. Well, okay, maybe that. Ignore that. Here's Conker's Bad Fur Day. Probably my favorite Rare game and my favorite N64 game ever. Again, developed by Rare, published by Nintendo, which is just funny. This was affiliated with Nintendo at one point. Very beefy game, very much like a PlayStation game almost. This is not an authentic cartridge. This is a reproduction, but I mean, it works, so I don't really care. Here's another beloved one from Rare, Diddy Kong Racing. I'll shamefully admit, yeah, I just got this recently, and so far I'm not clicking with it, which is not a good thing, because I hear this is like the best kart racing game on the N64. It's entered my backlog, sadly, but hopefully I will be able to get around to giving this game a fair chance, and it will become one of my favorites, so we can only hope for that. Banjo and Conker are also in it. I know for anyone... For anyone who's, like, you know, familiar with Conker's Bad Fur Day, you don't know about the story here. Conker was originally intended for all ages, and this was around the time that this game released around the time that was still the case, so, or at least that was still the plan, but that didn't happen. Then we have Donkey Kong 64. Okay. Big-ass collectathon. This was, before Bonanza, this was Donkey Kong's only 3D game, or 3D platformer. I'd say Bonanza is like a million times better than this. This is a collectathon of the freaking ages. A collectathon for the ages. That's a better way of saying it. As a result, the game is extremely overwhelming, and I've never gotten halfway to beating it. So, yeah. I mean, it's a fine game. It functions, it works, but it's too big. That's the problem. Moving on, we have Mario Kart 64, one of the most beloved Mario Kart games ever made. I rightfully agree. It's not my absolute favorite, but I would say it is still a good time, especially in multiplayer. So, yeah, not much to say there. Nintendo, as always. Here we have Mario Party. Nintendo, it was developed by Hudson Soft. Very nice, very nice. Not much to say there. I think this is the one and only time that Nintendo got sued and they didn't win. I don't know, unless there's another one. Somebody let me know on that. Moving on, we have Mario Party 3. I will shamefully admit this is also a reproduction, but that was a complete accident. Like, look at that. That doesn't look normal. Whatever. It works. I don't care. Again, Nintendo and Hudson Soft. There you go. Here we have Mickey Speedway USA. This one's a fine racing game. It does have a lot of similarities to, like, Diddy Kong Racing, in terms of its gameplay, not in terms of, like, adventure mode or anything, because it doesn't really have that. Dialogue is very overabundant, though, I'll say that. I think you could turn that off, so, whatever. Yeah, this is a fine one. Again, developed by Rare, published by Nintendo. So, yeah. Here we have Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers. This one's not that great, honestly. Published by THQ and developed by, I think, a company called Terraglyph, if I remember. Yeah, not much to say about that one. Moving on, we have Super Mario 64, which is turning, I think it's turning 30 next year? 30, right? Yeah, 30. That's insane, dude. But yeah, it's Super Mario 64. I mean, what else has not been said about this game? So, yeah, not much to say there, obviously. Have some more here. Yeah, here we have Tom and Jerry and Fists of Furry. So yeah, this is technically the precursor to War of the Whiskers, except it's a lot cheaper, a lot smaller, and it has less content. So, not much to say about it. I think there's a PC version of this as well, but I bought this one just because, why the hell not? I don't have a lot of N64 games, so, yeah. If it was on PlayStation, I would have gotten that, but they had another game on PlayStation, which I don't have. I think it was called House Trap or something. So, yeah. This one, again, published by New Kid Co. and developed by Vice. Moving on here, we have Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue. This is probably the worst version, in my opinion. Like, the PlayStation version is way better. We'll get to that in a bit. Here we have, it was published by Activision and developed by Traveler's Tales. I gotta replay this game, honestly. This was a great game. Just not this version. Not that version. And then, what's this? Oh, Yoshi! This is Yoshi's Story for N64. Cute little game, very short. Unless you try to go for, like, the harder levels by collecting the hearts, obviously. It's a nice little game to breeze through. So, yeah. Again, Nintendo. Same old, same old. Back label or warning label or whatever the heck it is has seen better days, but as long as the front's okay, that's all that's good to me. So, yeah. And then we have some complete in-box stuff right here, so let's just scrape right through these. Here's the only Super Famicom game I own, Mario and Wario. I got this for like $25 or something. That's saying a lot. It requires the SNES mouse. This one was added to NSO alongside Bubsy. So, yeah, the fact that Nintendo sees value in adding Bubsy to NSO, that's pretty sad. It means that this, we've failed as a community, or Nintendo has gone rogue. So, yeah, I don't know what the whole situation of that is, but this one is alright, honestly. Not much. I covered this last year, and barely anybody watched that video. So, yeah, I guess that should pretty much speak for itself. Then we have some just, Super Nintendo games. Here's Rocco's Modern Life, Spunky's Dangerous Day. It's like a puzzle platforming escort game. Tries to combine a whole bunch of shit. As a result, it's meh, honestly. So, yeah, not much to say about this one. I almost dropped it. That would have been really bad. Then we have, Ren and Stimpy Vidiots. Terrible game, if you ask me. Very terrible. I did a one-off for this, and it did not go well at all. So, yeah, let's move. Actually, no, I think there's a whole storyline on the back of the box, and it's never brought up once in the game. So, like, if you just threw the box out in the manual, you wouldn't know what the heck is going on in this game. Then again, it's never even referenced, so, like, what's the point? It's really cheap. Oh, I didn't even address the, oh, I knew this was going to happen. This was, I think, developed by Game Freak, who does the Pokemon games. This one was developed by, I don't know, but it was published by Viacom New Media. I almost said Media, that doesn't make any sense. And this one, well, it was published by THQ, but I don't know who developed it. So, there's that. And then we have some complete in-box N64 games. They're both Rugrats games, and they're also the only Nickelodeon games released on the N64, which is kind of hilarious. And here we have Rugrats in Paris for N64. So, yeah, not much to say here. It was developed by Avalanche Software and published by THQ. This one is meh, honestly. It was also on PlayStation with slight differences, and Tommy actually spoke in that version. So, there's that. And then we have Rugrats Scavenger Hunt, which is like a board game, video game, or a virtual board game, I guess. I mean, as a board game, it's functional, but it's really not much. Plus, it was a full-price game back in the day. So that's not a good thing. I think it's because, I think the reason why they did it is because of all the dialogue the game had. It had a shit ton of dialogue, but that kind of took up all the cartridge space. It wasn't like Conquer, it wasn't a bigger cartridge, so yeah, They sacrificed the game for the voice cast. That's a little, it's a little risky, and I'd say it did not pay off at all, so whatever. This was developed by Real Time Associates and published by THQ, so there's that. Not much else to say there. Moving right along, we have GameCube games and some Sega Genesis games. So let's start with GameCube. First up, we have Magical Mirrors starring Mickey Mouse. I was thinking about covering this in 2023, but that didn't happen. It was developed by Capcom and published by Nintendo, I believe, which is rather interesting. So, yeah. Then we have the GameCube version of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. Not much to say there. It's the same game, albeit with some missing features and downgraded graphics. Then we have Looney Tunes Back in Action. This was published by EA, so I was right about that middle thing. And it was developed by, it doesn't say, but it was also developed by Warthog Games. And then we have Luigi's Mansion. Oh, yeah. Obviously Nintendo, obviously. This is this the only launch title I have? I think so, actually. Yeah, none of the other games I own are launch titles for the GameCube. This is the only GameCube launch title I own. Yeah, I like Luigi's Mansion. This one got added to NSO this year. Very nice, very nice. Then we have Mario Kart Double Dash. My first Mario game, my first Mario Kart, and as a result, it has always been my favorite Mario Kart. This is the version with the bonus disc. I think it's actually in there. There you go. I need to get the manual for this game. I really do. But, yes, this was my first Mario game, my first Mario Kart, and if it does not get added to NSO next year, I am going, bad things will happen. Very, very bad things will happen. I can't say what they are because I don't know what they will be. So it's important that I think Nintendo tries to get that game on there as soon as possible. We have some Mario Parties. We have Mario Party 4, obviously Nintendo and Hudson Soft. Yeah. I rented this one a couple of times from Blockbuster, and I played it with my sister. Here's Mario Party 5. Very nice, very nice. Again, same deal, Nintendo and Hudson Soft. And then Mario Party 7, which I got at a retro game store. Funny, I think my sister actually got this. She thought this was the one that we rented from Blockbuster. She was way off. Some of you may notice I don't have Mario Party 6. I don't know if I'll ever get that. Maybe I will eventually. I'm just not so sure. And then again, that was... Nintendo and Hudson. So I just realized when I put Luigi's Mansion back, I accidentally skipped over Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. Oopsie gravy. That's a big my bad on that. I got this one for only like $30 actually, recently, like in the past few years, which is crazy when you consider the price of these first party like Nintendo games. This one was developed by Camelot, who did the first Mario Golf on N64. Very nice, very nice. Sorry about skipping that. Oops. And on the subject of Camelot, we have Mario Power Tennis. And obviously published by Nintendo. This was a wild game. Hope that one gets added to NSO at some point. Then we have Monsters, Inc. Scream Arena. This is Dodgeball, but with Monsters, Inc., because that's definitely the first thing I think about when I think of Monsters, Inc. I'm just like, yeah, my favorite moment of the movie was when they all just played Dodgeball for no freaking reason. You don't remember that part? That was the best part of the whole damn movie. Yeah, I remember Randall hit Sully so hard, he was sent right into a coma for the rest of the film. I don't know what you all are talking about. That was the best part of the movie. Okay, joking aside, that one's not that great. That one's just bleh. We have Muppets Party Cruise. I have a friend who really loves this game. I think it's fine. Oh, I didn't even... Stupid. Sorry, I got so caught up in the joke, I forgot to say this was published by THQ and developed by Radical Entertainment. So, yeah. And this one was published by TDK Media Active and developed by Mass Media. Same people who did Shrek Super Party. So that's a little scary. But this one is actually a lot better. Still not great in my opinion, but yeah, it's better than that. I have a friend who really loves this game. So there's that. GameCube version of Party Blast. Enough said. GameCube version of Nicktoons Unite. This one actually has 1 to 4 players marketed on the front of the box, probably because it doesn't need any additional add-ons to make that happen. So, yeah, I guess I would say this is the better version. You don't get the cross-save stuff, but, oh well, what can you do? Again, don't have to say the devs because it's the same thing. And we have Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Yeah, this was probably the best of the Paper Mario games, honestly. Obviously, it was developed by Intelligent Systems. Remember, I rented this from Blockbuster, and I didn't know how the heck to play the game because I didn't know how RPGs worked back when I was a kid. But, yeah, a phenomenal game. I still do not have the remake. I need to get the remake at some point in time. That is something that I have been, it's just I haven't gotten around to doing it. There is a little bit of damage on my case, but the rest of it looks great, so I don't really care. It could have been like Player's Choice or like Bestseller Edition, so I'll take what I can get. So, yeah. And then we have Resident Evil. Just kidding. No, this is Piglet's Big Game. Yeah, this game became a meme last year, like shortly after I made the collection video, and as a result, this game went up in price ridiculously. I think some people were also trying to sell like Xbox versions of the game, which don't exist. The game was never released on Xbox. And even the Game Boy version, which has nothing to do with this game, that also got, up in price. So, yeah, this is a, yeah, I think it's gone down slightly depending on the console, but yeah. Sorry about the glare, by the way. I've been trying to avoid that. But, yeah, I think I got this for like $15, like 2 years before this all went down or something. I don't remember how long it was, but needless to say, it's not worth like anything more than $50 nowadays. So, yeah, I'd say wait until it all dies down. I think most of it's died down, but the prices have remained high, so that's a little upsetting. And I forgot the publisher. It was published by Gotham Games and developed by Doki Denki. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then we have Pikmin. Obviously Nintendo. Not much else to say there. It's funny. I was supposed to do a Let's Play for this game this year, but I didn't have time because I was working on bigger projects. Maybe next year. It depends. I'm not sure how this game would work for a Let's Play, given the fact that the whole point of the game is trying to be as efficient as possible, which would require me to focus. But if I'm focusing, then that's probably not going to do good for commentary. So, yeah, still on the fence about covering Pikmin, but it's definitely on the table. Highly on the table. Pikmin 2 is next. Again, Nintendo. Yeah, I like Pikmin 2. There isn't really, like, any need to worry about time because there's no day limit, unlike the first game. I guess maybe being efficient. I think is there a high score system for the main campaign? I think there is. But, yeah, I don't really care about that. So if I was to ever cover this game, I'd probably just focus on the main campaign, even though, like, there's still more to the game, obviously. I don't know. It's the best. This one's, I don't really have this one on the radar yet, but, like, I don't know. It's all to be determined. So, that's Pikmin 2. GameCube version of Rocket Power Beach Bandits. Don't really have to say anything about that. The GameCube version of Rugrats Royal Ransom. I'd say this one has better graphics. So, there's that. And the GameCube version of Battle for Bikini Bottom. See, I'm just saying this. Listen up, THQ Nordic. If Nintendo sees value in adding Bubsy to NSO, I don't see why they'd see no reason to add this. That will never happen, I know, but that's my point. That is the point I am trying to make. But, yeah, GameCube version, not the best version, but still passable, I'd argue. Then I don't know, maybe they won't add it because of the trailers, because they removed the Pikmin trailer in Luigi's Mansion, so, yike. I don't know, maybe that could also just be because Pikmin had a re-release elsewhere, not on NSO. So, yeah, here's the GameCube version of Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. The graphics aren't as good, but the load times aren't really an issue. I don't know how to. It's a complicated mess. I'm not getting into it here. Here we have Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Was this in the video, the last one? I don't know. Curiosity had been bugging me about this game for a while, so I was just like, you know what? Let's just check it out. Let's see if it's as bad as everyone says it is. And yes, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Yeah. Look at if the thing wasn't glaring. Look at Ripto just like living inside of Spyro's eye. That's just new home. This is my new home, dragon. Okay, no. Okay, that's just a joke. Just a reflection, obviously. Yeah, 2002 was a weird time for all these mascot platformers. They were getting weird shit. And, oh, speak of the devil, it's Super Mario Sunshine. Another prime example of this era. Perfect. These are just like the two twins, the two like weird twin games that are just next to each other. No, let's throw Wrath of Cortex in there while we're at it. Okay, now this version was 2002, but the main PlayStation 2 version was 2001. Okay, maybe that one doesn't fit in the same category. Mario Sunshine, right? Ow. Yes. This is Mario Sunshine. Sorry. Yeah, one of Mario's most infamous games. I think it's all right. I mean, I have some nostalgia for it, but it's not a masterpiece. It really ain't. I mean, especially if you're trying to 100% the damn game. So there's that. So, yeah, not much to say about that. Nintendo, surprisingly. And we have Super Smash Bros. Melee. Probably one of the best fighting games on GameCube. No, the best fighting game on GameCube. I don't care what anyone says. This one was developed by HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo, of course. Then we have Jimmy Neutron, the Attack of the Twonkies. Based on the special, obviously, it takes a lot of liberties. This was published by THQ and developed by THQ Studio in Australia. Another Luigi's Mansion-esque game, even though it takes place in broad daylight, for the most part. Actually, no, I think half of the game is, I don't know, when you get to the main gimmick, it's all right. Not special by any means, but I've wasted my time with worse things. Then we have the Fairly Odd Parents Shadow Showdown, which was also published by THQ and developed by Blitz Games. This one did get released internationally. I don't know what the whole mumbo jumbo is. I don't know the whole story. I'm not getting into it here. This one's all right. It's meh, honestly. This one was in my backlog for a while, but I finished it like a few years ago. So, yeah, maybe we'll cover this at some point. I'm not so sure. Then we have Universal Studios Theme Parks Adventure. What does the spine say? Theme Park Adventure. Make up your mind, goddammit. So yeah, this is a game, I guess, and it was meant to promote the opening of Universal Studios Japan. Why we got it, I have no idea. It was published by Kemco and developed by, I have no idea. Wait, no, developed by, there it is right there, but I can't. Naya Digital Works. I definitely said the first word wrong. Oh well, what can you do? And then finally we have Wario World. Welcome to Wario World. Oh yeah. Yeah, I reclaimed this game. I finally rebought this game this year. I sold it like a few years ago. Like I'd want to say like maybe 5 or 6 years ago because I just needed money. That was a big mistake. So I rebought it. I finally went through it. It was a very fine game, if I do say so myself. But wouldn't you know it? A day before I recorded this, just the other day, before I recorded this video, Nintendo shadow dropped this on NSO. So I didn't have to rebuy this game. Okay, no, just kidding. I've wanted to own this game physically again for some time. Will I cover this one? Maybe. It depends. I don't know. I haven't played it yet because I haven't just gotten around to doing it yet on NSO. But I doubt that the WarioWare games are playable in that. I doubt they are. Because, I mean, if you can't even transfer data from, like, between the Mario Tennis and games on N64 and Game Boy Color on NSO, I don't think that's going to work. I'd be damn surprised if it does, but I doubt it. But then again, who the heck's buying this game to play those samples? I feel like you just buy the real deal, honestly. And then we have the Sega Genesis games here. We have Real Monsters, which was published by Viacom New Media, and I don't know who developed it. Would it say it in, like, the copyrights down here? I'm not seeing anything. This one, no, I think so. If I remember correctly, actually, I think this was developed by Artificial Minded Movement. So, yeah, not really much. It's like it's a weird kind of game. I think the Super Nintendo version had better controls and graphics, but, like, I don't know. It was cheaper to get this one complete in box. Plus, I needed Genesis games, so screw it. There's that. Then we have Garfield Caught in the Act. Yeah, this one's meh, in my opinion. This is the version that has the limited edition comic book, even though that is nothing exclusive. It's not exclusive whatsoever. It's all made up of, like, previous Garfield comics, so it's not worth it. Was this published by Sega? Maybe, I'm not sure. Who developed it, though? I have no idea. Anything in the copyrights down there? I don't see anything. Similarly, this next game, The Ren and Stimpy Show, Stimpy's Invention, Again, don't know who published it. With Sega, did they publish it? I'm not so sure. It's not specific. I don't know who developed it. Was it? I think the company was named like Blue Sky or something. It's a Nintendo sort of thing here where you had to beat the game to figure out who developed it. Unless they told you at the beginning, but I don't know. I don't remember. I haven't played this one in a while. It's fine. It's meh, honestly. Not that great. But, yeah. Also, it has nothing to do with the episode. You gotta make that very clear. This box art is a lie. So, yeah. And then finally, we have Toy Story on Genesis. And it's not that good. I don't like it. I always end up getting a game over, like, at the halfway point of the game. I've never beaten this one properly. I probably never will. The North American version, by the way, doesn't even have like a password system. The PAL version does, but not this one. And it was developed by, I think, that company right there. I can't pronounce it. I think Traveler's Tales was also involved. And then it was published by, I believe, Disney Interactive. I don't know. Was Disney Interactive a publisher? I'm going to assume it was. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't really care. Moving on, we have this shelf, just kind of a random shelf, honestly. Here we have some Wii U games. Not a whole lot, and that's largely because of disc rot. A lot of these games I've actually had to digitize through certain means, obviously. Some of them I actually had digitally, but then I bought physically just for a cheap price. Let's start. First up, we have Mario Kart 8. I don't remember the last time I actually played this version of the game, but I mean, I did pour a lot of time into it, so yeah. This is, I think, one of the first Mario Kart games I actually got relatively close to launch. I wasn't going to, but then, like, one of my friends at school was just like, dude, you should totally get it. I heard it's going to be great. I heard it's going to be wild. And I'm like, okay, why the hell not? Let's do it. And I'm glad I did that. So, yeah, a lot of time went into Mario Kart 8. Here's a game that I absolutely love. Nintendo Land. It was a multiplayer game. Was this a launch title? I think it might have been. I'm not so sure. I love this game. I love Nintendo Land. I've never covered it, though, because I would want to cover, like, the main multiplayer games. I'd want to cover Mario Chase. I'd want to cover Luigi's Ghost Mansion. I'd want to cover Animal Crossing Sweet Day. Like, those ones were the ones I spent the most time on with friends and family. So, like, yeah, too bad this was never ported to Switch. I guess there's really no way to do that, I suppose, because of the heavy utilization of the gamepad. Bonita, why would you do this to me? Come to Switch. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. That's not, whatever. Maybe it's important that they keep a game on Wii U so it has a signature title, I guess. I don't know how it works. I just forget I said that. There we have SpongeBob, Plankton's Robotic Revenge. The only Nickelodeon game on Wii U, to my knowledge. It was developed by Behavior Interactive and published by Activision around the time they had the rights to Nickelodeon games. That did not go so well. Nowadays, Nickelodeon does not have a specific publisher, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. So, yeah, this version has 5-player co-op, even though it doesn't say that on the back of the box, because it's copied from, like, the Wii version of the game. So, yeah, there's that. And then we have Super Mario 3D World. I did not get this one at launch, but I got it, like, a month later, with, like, Christmas allowance or Christmas money. It is, yeah, a lot of fun. I love Super Mario 3D World. Did I say that I was planning on covering this at some point? I think back in, like, 2020, maybe. I don't know. If I was going to do it, it'd be the Wii U, not the Wii U, the Switch version, obviously. You can move a lot faster than that one, too, so it's just a better version overall. So, yeah, it's Super Mario 3D World. And then we have Super Mario Maker. I bought this one digitally, pre-ordered it digitally. Might have been the first game I ever pre-ordered. But I decided to check out one of them new GameStop retro stores that popped up where they started selling older games. My expectations were correct. It was gloriously shit. But I found this there for like $10. I'm like, okay, sure. The only downside is, look at this. Coffee stain. That's nice. I can't, and that's not on the case, that's on the artwork. So I don't know who in their right mind would do this to this game, but yeah. That's pretty sad, but yeah, I mean, whatever. It was for $10. I mean, I guess it could have been worse. The artwork couldn't have been there. I asked the seller, hey, I didn't ask the seller. I asked the guy who was working at that GameStop, hey, do you have one that doesn't have this? And he's like, you could just print one at home. I like GameStop. So, yeah, that's Super Mario Maker. Very nice, very nice. And then we have Super Smash Brothers on Wii U. I did not back up this one because it's too big, and I don't have, like, a hard drive to back up that, too. I think I also have, like, other, like, Wii U games on there digitally, like Mario Party 10 and such. We'll get there when we do. But, yeah, this one's pretty nice. We got Pac-Man and Mega Man in it, so that was pretty neat. So yeah. Yeah, Smash Brothers on Wii U. I'm sad that this was the last one to have trophies. I mean, I guess the spirits in Ultimate are kind of like that. It's kind of like a thing. But then again, I feel like that was more like stickers in Brawl. I'm jumping ahead, obviously. But yeah, this is Nintendo and Sora, obviously. Very nice, very nice. There's that other company, though. I can't see what that says. Yeah, very nice. Oh, you can link this one up with the 3DS version. I used to own the 3DS version. I'm debating on whether or not I want to buy that again. I don't know if I will. Probably not. But, yeah. And then we have DS games. I have a lot more DS games than last time, only because, as some of you may know, I can now cover DS games and 3DS games for the channel. So I had to double down on picking some of these up. So, let's get right to it. First up, we have Back at the Barnyard Slop Bucket Games. Kind of a watered-down version of the Barnyard game, just like it's like literally like 2 hours long, maybe even an hour long, but it has a lot of the same mini games, like Whack-A-Rack. Like that's a game from the console game, but yeah, it's not really much. It's pretty lousy. It was published by THQ and developed by Firemint. Interesting name for a company, if I do say so myself. But yeah, this is a rather short game, so this might get covered, like, you know, if I need to do something big in a month, this will just kind of like hold people off. I don't know. Then we have Drawn to Life SpongeBob Edition. I've never played the original Drawn to Life, but I only bought this one because it had SpongeBob on it. So this was developed by Altron and published by THQ, or Play THQ, I guess. It featured a Doodle Bob, Me Hoi Me Noi. And yeah, it was pretty neat, actually. It was kind of like Doodle Dimension before Doodle Dimension happened. So, yeah. It's an interesting little game. I might cover that at some point. Then we have Kirby Superstar Ultra. I loved Kirby Superstar, but Ultra was like probably. Oh, can I just say this actually? Kirby Superstar Ultra is probably like the best Kirby game ever made. Period. I used to be big on Kirby, but eventually I just grew out of him. I'm debating on kind of getting back into him. I mean, again, I've been looking at Kirby Air Riders. That looks really good. Yeah, this was one of the games I decided to finally reacquire, and I'm so happy. I love this game. Whether or not I'll cover it, if I do cover it, I'll probably just go for like the main modes, honestly, including like the ones that are exclusive to this, like Revenge of the King and all that, or whatever that was called. But yeah, I'm not sure about any of like the side shit, like the boss rushes or the arena, basically, or like the call for assistance, which is like the arena for like the partners. Just the main stuff, obviously. So, yeah, very nice. I love Kirby Superstar and Kirby Superstar Ultra. Then we have Madagascar Karts, which is a port, if you will, of the console game, if you could believe that. I mean, it's rebuilt from the ground up, but it's gloriously shit. And it includes secret bonus characters. One of them is Shrek, obviously. Can we see him on that? Nope. Okay, so they keep Shrek hidden. But, yeah, that's the only thing I can say about this game is that it has Shrek. Everything else, no. There's not even, like, you don't even get anything for, like, 100%ing the game. I did that, and just nothing. Nothing at all. So, yeah, this is a very lousy game, if you ask me. Very lousy. So, yeah, not much to say there. It was published by Activision and developed by, them. Virtuos, I think. I also forgot, obviously, it should be obvious, this was HAL Laboratory. Should be obvious. Then we have Mario Kart DS. Obviously, Nintendo. Put a lot of time into this one, too. This is, like, another good Mario Kart game. Especially, like, you know, with mission mode and all that. Not much to say. Obviously, it's Nintendo. Same old, same old. And then we have New Super Mario Brothers. Another game I poured a lot of time into as a kid. This is, definitely a high contender for a Let's Play. Absolutely. Obviously Nintendo. This was meant to celebrate... Was this meant to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers? I guess so. I mean, it was like a year late. So, I mean, you know. Alright, moving on, we have Nicktoons Unite on DS. I almost said Game Boy for a second. We're not there yet. This one was developed by Climax and published by THQ, obviously. Look at that, licensed by Nintendo. That's just kind of interesting. I think Nintendo actually was included in, like, the opening, like, credits, even though they had nothing to do with this game. That's just a funny fact, honestly. A very funny fact I wanted to put out. But yeah, I'll probably cover this one, too. It's a 3D platformer rather than a beat-em-up, so I don't know. We'll have to cover that one at some point. And then we have Creature from the Krusty Krab. This one I had not given a fair chance after a while, because it had heavily relied on touch controls. It was developed by Way Forward, who's best known for making Shantae, and it was published by THQ. But yeah, I finally got around to giving this game a fair chance, and it's meh, honestly. I still have to beat it on my own spare time, so yeah, whether or not this one will happen, I haven't decided yet, so we'll have to wait and see on that. And then moving on, we have SpongeBob versus the big one, Beach Party Cook-Off. I've been told that this game is called SpongeBob Frantic Fry Cook or something like that in international regions, so I'm not sure about that. So it was developed by Fizz Factor, interesting, and published by THQ. It's like a Cooking Mama kind of game with Plankton's family. A lot of weird shit that you cook that would otherwise not be on the Krusty Krab menu. So, it's Mr. Krabs just pulling all the stops. Then we have Plankton's Robotic Revenge for DS, obviously Activision. This one was developed by, who developed this one? Behavior? Wait, Behavior Interactive developed this version? It's not the same game. Then again, no. Oh my god, wait, I just realized this. This screenshot in the middle reflects how the game looks. This one and this one are just screenshots from the console game. I forgot it does that. I don't have the 3DS version because I think that's just a console port or a port of the console game. I'd be really shitty. Actually, if I remember correctly, this game is kind of like Super Mario Sunshine where the manual is different from the cover art. But take a look at this. Look at this. Look at that. That's a great manual cover, guys. That is a freaking-tastic manual cover. Like, look at that. It's just a DSi. That's perfect. That's game of the year right here. This is game of the year. Okay, I'm just joke. Blur. Okay, that's enough of that. Moving on, we have SpongeBob's Boating Bash on DS. I think I got this as an Easter gift at one point, but I finally rebought it once DS games became a thing that I could do. Meh, honestly. Not really much to say about it. It does have a DSi feature, but it's just like a camera mode, which doesn't get implemented into the main game. So, yeah, not much to say about this one. This was developed by, if I can find that, come on, focus. I can't tell what that company is. Firebrand Games? I think that's what it is, Firebrand Games. And then it's published by THQ. The huge. And then we have SpongeBob's Atlanta SquarePants on DS. This is one of the first DS games I actually ever got, actually. This was developed by Altron and published by THQ. It is like a 3D platformer rather than whatever the console game was. It was like a big jumbled mess of things. So yeah, this will definitely have to happen next year at some point. Haven't played it in a while, though, so I'm hoping that some stuff doesn't age well. It's going to happen, isn't it? Oh, boy. I've set myself up for disaster. Whatever. That's very likely for next year. And then here we have SpongeBob's Truth or Square on DS. Very similar game, but I just haven't clicked with this one, honestly. Maybe if I was a kid playing it, maybe that'd be different, but whatever. It was developed by Altron and published by THQ. Very nice, very nice. Very different from the other versions. And then, finally, for DS, we have Super Mario 64 DS. A lot of people obviously say this is an inferior version. I think it's alright. I wouldn't say it's like a masterpiece or anything, but I think it's fine. Those minigames were really cool. So, yeah, and there was also a battle mode, too, which was pretty neat. So, yeah, not much else to say about that one. And that's Nintendo, obviously. And then we have some 3DS games. Not a whole lot, but I'm hoping to get more in the future. First up, we have Luigi's Mansion 2, or I guess Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, as it was still being called at the time. This was obviously developed by Next Level Games, and then it was published by Nintendo. This was released, I think, around the time of the Year of Luigi, if I'm right. Yeah, 2013. They did this whole Year of Luigi thing to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Luigi. And, yeah, a lot of people hated it. That's, yeah, that's just, whatever. Just fixing this, sorry. Then we have Mario Kart 7. I've always had some beef with this one because I have a lot of personal trouble with this one. In terms of, like, corrupted save data and all that. But, I mean, at its core, it's still a decent Mario Kart game. They removed a lot of features that made, like, DS kind of cool, which is kind of sad. And it also does not have a single-player versus mode, which I will never understand to this very day. I think this one was actually not developed by Nintendo. I think this was actually developed by Retro Studios. Usually Nintendo would get, like, help from other companies. Like, I think Intelligent Systems worked on one at some point. But then again, that's kind of within Nintendo, isn't it? So that doesn't really count. So, yeah. It's a little fact for you right there. Oh, yeah, for some reason, this game in particular makes that noise. I have no idea. I'm sorry about that. Nails on a chalkboard. Then we have SpongeBob Hero Pants on 3DS. I only own this because it was in the same listing as the next game we're going to cover. This was also by Behavior Interactive and Activision. Did I say Avalanche Software before? I really hope I haven't been saying that this whole time. That would be really bad. But yeah, this is a watered-down version of the console game, except it is gloriously shit. Yeah, no, this one probably will never happen. It was only in that trailer because I needed to show off games. And that game keeps falling. Whatever, we'll get to it soon. Here we have the 3DS version of Squiggle Pants. It has an additional thing that utilizes the circle pad. It's not, you can't see any pictures of it on the back, but there is that little thing there. This was developed by Way Forward. We'll get to the console game soon. It was discovered recently that there was supposed to be a DS port of this game, which is rather interesting. So, yeah, probably didn't happen because of THQ going bankrupt. But, yeah, I think this released like a couple of months after the 3DS launched. I don't know. This is one of those SpongeBob games that launched within the launch year of a console. I think there was only like 3 other ones. So, yeah, that's interesting. And then we have Super Mario 3D Land. I wish this game would get ported to consoles, honestly. But, I mean, not that that matters for me, honestly, because now I can cover this. But I still would love to see this game get ported. I'm sure everyone would complain about it not having up-res graphics or better graphics, but whatever. I just want it on a big TV, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, Nintendo, obviously. I always liked 3D Land. I thought that was a fine one. A lot of people say it's the most forgettable one, but whatever. Then we have some Dreamcast games, including this one that keeps falling over. So let's go through those very quickly. First up, we have Crazy Taxi. Yeah, finally got on the ball and bought Crazy Taxi on Dreamcast. I've heard that, you know, there's on other consoles, but I heard the Dreamcast one was always the best one to go for. It was the closest to the arcade. And has additional content, obviously. But then again, the other ones do. I'm not sure. I haven't really followed much on that debate, but I got it on Dreamcast because I needed more Dreamcast games. Yeah, finally decided to get this after playing the arcade version at an arcade back in May. So, yes. I mean, what can I say? It's Crazy Taxi. I have to do a one-off of that at some point. Then we have Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. Why did I cover this? I have no idea. I just did. So, yeah. I thought it'd be a funny thing, but it turned out being an absolute mess. It was a one-off. It was developed by, I don't even know how to pronounce that, and it was published by Sega, I believe. So there's that. I think Crazy Taxi was obviously Sega. I don't have to say that. And everything just fell down. That's just lovely, lovely dovey dumplings. And this is backwards for some reason. All right, whatever. Moving on, we have Looney Tunes Space Race. This was published by Infogrames and developed by, I think, one of their in-house studios. I don't remember. This one's meh, honestly, not that great. But, I mean, what can you do? I've played worse racing games. The controls are rather awkward. But, I don't know. Maybe it had to do with, like, new hardware or something. Because the PlayStation 2 wasn't even out yet. That wouldn't be out for, like, another... Actually, no, 2000. This is around the time the PlayStation 2 did come out. This did get a PS2 version with some additional content. And, if you ask me, cheaper menus... But I didn't find out about that until after I bought this game. Same thing with Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. So, needless to say, my experience with Dreamcast is not going so well at the moment. Here we have The Grinch. The Grinch. That worked out quite nicely. Yeah, this is based on the Jim Carrey movie that came out around the same time. That film turned 25 this year. That's crazy. Published by Konami and developed by, I think, Artificial Mind and Movement. So, yeah. This one was meh, honestly. It's like a typical, like, collectathon sort of thing. Whether or not I will cover it, I have no idea. I'm still debating on that. And then we have... What was this one? Oh, this was Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue on Dreamcast. Don't have to say anything about the publisher or devs, but I will say, better than the N64 version, but not better than the PlayStation version. The controls in this one are all screwed up. Analog control... it does not function properly. It's all diagonal shit. It's not. Let's just say that. So, yeah, that's not a good one. And then we have Wacky Races, the one that keeps falling over. This one's also meh, honestly. It was published by Infogrames and also developed by, I think, one of their in-house studios. So, not much else to say about that one. I don't know if I'll ever cover this one. I'll have to wait and see, I guess. All right, moving on to this shelf down here. The first game we have is an interesting one. This is Captain Rainbow, the only Japanese Wii game I own. I've heard that this game was really weird, and given that I've been on the homebrew scene for Wii for a long time, I just decided, you know what, let's pick this up and see how it is. Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Published by Nintendo and developed by... Actually, I don't really remember the name of the developer who published this. The same people who did Chibi Robo, for anyone who knows that. I love Chibi Robo. I've been playing that on, like, NSO. That's a really good game. Then we have Barnyard on Wii. I think I stated in the last one. I might have stated in the last one that this was a launch title for the Wii in North America. That is not the case, however. I think it was like a week off or a few days off. I'm not so sure, but it was around the launch, but it wasn't a launch title, like another game that we'll get to for Nickelodeon. But yeah, not much to say here. This is actually my definitive version of the game for me personally. Yes, it does have motion controls, but it has more content and a better presentation and music and such. It's a lot. It's hard to explain, really, but yeah, I like that one. Moving on, we have Cooking Mama Cook-Off. I've never played the original Cooking Mama on DS. Now that I can do that, DS gameplay stuff, I could probably buy that and check it out. I'm not sure how it was or how it will be, but whatever. It was published by Majesco, and I think it was developed by somebody else, or is it Taito? I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, let's read the. Let me take a look at the published and distributed by Majesco and developed by. It doesn't say. It doesn't say. Of course, it doesn't say. Okay, whatever. I've been thinking about covering this game at some point, at least a one-off, but yet y'all never want to see it, so. I'm not going to bother with that, I guess. Here's one that wasn't here last time that I've actually had for the long run. Kirby's Dream Collection, which was a special thing they did for Kirby's 20th anniversary back in 2012, I believe. And, yeah, it's basically a collection game, or like a game collection, if you will, or compilation. This box has seen better days, but I have actually restored it a bit to some degree. Like some of the edges that were folded up and split, I put some glue in between, dabbed some glue in between those little spaces, and then just pinched it back together. It's not perfect, but I mean, this box is clearly in better condition than it was. I found this up in the attic this year, and I forgot I had this, so I decided, you know what, let's pull it on down, and let's add it to the shelf. So, yeah, obviously HAL Laboratory, as always, and Nintendo. Same old, same old. Then we have Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. This is one of the earlier Wii games I got. This is not the copy I had growing up. I rebought this. I don't even think this case is actually a Wii case. Let me check something very quickly. Oh, I know. There's Wii right there. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. So it is a Wii case. My bad. Yeah, I like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. It was developed and published by Sega or something. Yeah, I think that's how it is. Usually Nintendo doesn't develop these crossover things. So, yeah, it was wild back then. So, yeah, that's pretty good. And then we have Mario Kart Wii. This one was alright. I just dropped it. Sorry about that. This is Mario Kart Wii. A lot of my friends like this one. I think it's alright. Definitely the items were very effective in this one. So it's one of the more challenging ones, but still a good time. Obviously, Nintendo, because who else? And we have Nicktoons Battle for Volcano Island. I'd say this one, out of all the Nicktoons Unite games, was the one that got, that had the most franchises, but now that I think about it, I think out of all of them, I think the one that had the most mileage out of its characters, or got the most mileage out of the characters, was probably Attack of the Toy... No, not this one. That's what I'm covering. Battle for Volcano Island, I'd say. Maybe Globs of Doom, but yeah. This one is often regarded as the worst one in the series. I used to love it for a long time, but recently I'm just like, yeah, nah. Those mech parts are pretty repetitive, so yeah, not great. But, oh well, what can you do? Blue Tongue Entertainment again, THQ. Here we have Nicktoons Globs of Doom. Yeah, they replaced Fairly Odd Parents with Zim in this. Torn on that, but, I mean, it's Zim. I can't complain with that. This game was not developed by Blue Tongue Entertainment. Instead, it was developed by a company there, Incinerator Studios. Interesting. Yeah, it's meh, honestly. It's a weird one, honestly, but, whatever. And then we have SpongeBob's Boating Bash. This is the Wii version. This one is definitely like a demolition derby kind of game. So, Yeah, it's pretty good, honestly. It's not great by any means. Oddly enough, I'd say that this is one of those weird games where motion controls are an option, and yet I prefer to play with them. I think steering with motion controls is a lot more tighter than it is with the nunchuck. It says here, compatible with the Wii wheel, even though that's like a piece of plastic. That's kind of funny, but whatever, what can you do? Yeah, not much to say about that one. Moving on, we have SpongeBob, Creature from the Krusty Krab. This is the Wii version. I picked this up as it was the first SpongeBob game to be a launch title. So far, it's the only SpongeBob game to be a launch title. This is a North American launch title for a system. Yeah, pretty neat. I think this was also released in Japan. I've debated on getting that for historical purposes, since Creature from the Krusty Krab was the first SpongeBob game released in Japan. I don't know. Maybe that will happen someday. Maybe it won't. Who knows? This has a unique mode to it called Sponge Band, which I did a video for. That's how it was pretty lousy, if you ask me. Watch at your own risk. Then we have SpongeBob SquigglePants for Wii. This is the console version. This required the U-Draw game tablet, which THQ made. A lot of games they started making required that, and they kind of shot themselves in the legs as a result. It seems like this is like by the way, I want to point out that SquigglePants is like a WarioWare clone. And I think it's pretty good, honestly. I mean, it's not much, so I would argue, yes, objectively it ain't great, but it's a guilty pleasure game for me, honestly. I love the art styles. I love the WarioWare attempt. And it was developed by Way Forward again. And, yeah, I'd say that's an underrated one, in my opinion. And then we got the Super Mario Galaxy games here. Here's number 1. Obviously developed by Nintendo. Nice. And then Super Mario Galaxy 2. Nice. Both of these games were ported to Switch recently in a collection. I do want to get that. I just don't know when I'll get around to doing it. So, yeah. And then we have Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I think this was the first one to be developed. Yeah, this was the first one developed by Sora. Although HAL Laboratories is labeled right there. So, Interesting. I don't know how that works. I don't know. I never really paid much attention to this sort of things. I usually just saw it for the first 2 games, and I never really picked up on it. This is a re-release of the Fighting Game of the Year thing. So, with the fight, yeah, that on it, whatever. So, yeah. This one has always been a mixed bag for a lot of people. I think it's all right. I think it's fine. So, yeah, not much else to say there. I think that was a birthday gift. And then, here's one that I completely forgot I owned. Wacky Races Crash and Dash. It's like, how can I describe it? It's published by that company. I can't pronounce them. It's like Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, where you have to keep shaking the remote to move. It's pretty lousy. They also try mixing, like, a WarioWare element to it. I think once you encounter all of the WarioWare-esque minigames like that, you can actually play them in a WarioWare-esque setting, which is, yeah, there's not really a lot I can say about this. It's just kind of weird. It was developed by, actually, I don't think there is a developer stated here. Oh, here we go. It was developed by them. Okay, so publisher, I suppose. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever cover that one. I haven't even gotten around to playing it myself, actually, so, yeah. Then here we have this little slip thing is Wii Sports. This thing has seen better days, but this is the one I got with my very first Wii. It's still here, still works after all of this time. I really need to get Wii Sports Resort. I just said that wrong. But yeah, I've held on to this thing. This thing has seen better days, but yeah, I mean, it's still here, still works. I ain't complaining. It's Wii Sports. What else can I say? And that, of course, is a Nintendo. Moving on, we have PlayStation. PlayStation was always one of my favorite consoles, so let's take a look at these. First up, we have Blue's Big Musical. I think I only own this because there's only like 10 Nickelodeon games on PlayStation, so I just thought, screw it, let's just get all of them, because I have like a Nickelodeon video game collection. As pathetic as that sounds, as I said before, my standards are set way too low. I mean, this is a baby game. It's an EC game, so, like, you know, what's to be expected here? It was published by THQ, although I think it was supposed to be published by Mattel. That did not make its way out of the game, so, oops. And it was developed by Terraglyph, who did Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers. So, yeah, not much to say about this one since it is EC. So, yeah, not much to say there. Now, here's one that I actually finally picked up. Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, published by Infogrames and developed by Behavior Interactive. Yeah, they had this weird thing back then. But yeah, this is an interesting game. It's another, like, collect-a-thon kind of game. It's fine, actually. I think the push for me to finally buy this was the Let's Play from my friend ToonFan91. Be sure you check his Let's Play out. I'm going to have too many things to link at the end of this video. God frickin' damn it. But yeah, I know there's another game in the same vein as this. I don't know if I'll ever get that. So, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. And then we have Crash. Woo! I mean, it's Crash. Like, what else can be said about it? It's Crash Bandicoot. Obviously published by Universal Interactive Studios, I believe. Basically Universal or Sony, I'm not sure. And developed by Naughty Dog. Obviously, yeah. I mean, it's Crash Bandicoot. What else to say there? And, of course, we have the sequels. We have Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. Probably my favorite one of the three, honestly. I guess I would say, like, Warped is objectively better, but I like this one a lot. I don't know why. There's just something about this one I like more. Developed by Naughty Dog again and published by Universal. Very nice. And then, of course, Crash Bandicoot Warped, which is often regarded as, like, the best one of the original three. This one is also really good. Again, developed by Naughty Dog and published by Universal. So, nice. And then we have kind of a weird thing here. Dora the Explorer Barnyard Buddies. Again, same reason why I own the Blue's Clues game. We're not going through that again. It was published by Global Star, who I think had exclusive rights to Dora games at this point, which is kind of weird. And then, I could be wrong on that, I'm not so sure. And then it was developed by, I believe, Imagine Engine, who have made a bunch of crappy PC games that I have covered on this channel. If you don't know, then you are lucky. That's all I'm going to say. And then we have Goofy's Funhouse, which is a weird game with Goofy. It was published by New Kid Co. and developed by the Code Monkeys. Always treat to see them. Oh, bother. Yeah, but, yeah. I believe this is the first PlayStation game I ever played. So that's, yeah, that's... Again, my standards are set way too low. That's just a sad fact about me. Then we have Looney Tunes Racing. This is a decent kart racer. It was published by Infogrames, and it was developed by... I don't remember. It had Circus in the name. I think I said last year that this game was alright, man, but I think it's alright. This game has a challenge mode, which is pretty neat. I thought I mentioned before that the challenge mode is pretty hard. It's not that hard. I mean, the final tier, there is some difficult stuff, but I think what was throwing me off were those games where you had to collect a bunch of items within a certain amount of time. It wasn't really luck, per se. It was more or less just finding the right path to take. So, yeah, it's pretty good, actually. I think Looney Tunes Racing is a decent little car racing game. Then we have Monsters, Inc. Scream Team, published by Sony or Disney Interactive. I don't know which one. I don't know why Sony's on there. And it was developed by Artificial Mind and Movement. I should mention that Artificial Mind and Movement is technically Behavior Interactive. It's just that they eventually renamed themselves back to Behavior Interactive. I have no idea how it works or why they did it in the first place, but whatever. This one's fine. What can I compare this to? It's kind of like Ape Escape, basically. Ape Escape? I don't know. That's probably not a good comparison. But it's something like that. I don't know. It's fine if you ask me. Not great, but alright. Then we have Muppet Monster Adventure, which is a Spyro clone, if you could believe that. With like a horror twist. It was developed by Magenta Studios and published by Midway. This one's pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'd say the requirements are pretty damn tight, though. But it's still a decent little collect-a-thon, if you ask me. I don't know if I'll ever cover it for that reason, though. Because, again, you almost have to 100% the game. But, what can you do? Then you have Muppet Race Mania here. This one's alright. It was developed by Traveler's Tales and published by Midway. Yeah, not much to say about that. It's just a racing game with the Muppets. It's absolutely chaotic. But, I mean, I guess that is to be expected with the Muppets. So, there you go. Then we have Nicktoons Racing on PlayStation. This one is alright. This one has some pretty heavy rubber banding AI in a lot of parts of the game. It ain't consistent, I think, if I remember correctly. I haven't played this one in a while. But it's not like the PC version where like the AI, the difficulty is depends on the difficulty you set. So yeah, but this one is meh. It was published by Infogrames and developed by Software Creations. So yeah, make what you will of that. And then we have Pac-Man World. According to the spine, I didn't see this when I did the unboxing video. This was done for Pac-Man's 20th anniversary. Even though I'm fairly certain it was released in 1999. Yes, it was. It wasn't released in 2000. So what's the... that's confusing, actually. But yeah, this one's all right. I will say this. I have kind of had this is in my backlog, I will admit. I'll say the second boss was a mess. An absolute mess. I don't know. Maybe it was just because it was the first time. I didn't know what to expect. But, yeah, I have to get back on this one at some point. But, so far, it's, hasn't entirely clicked with me yet. So, I don't know. I've heard the sequel is better. So, I'll have to try that out at some point. Moving on, we have Rocket Power Team Rocket Rescue. I only own this for the same reason as I have Beach Bandits 4. It was developed by Dark Black. That's an interesting name for a developer, and published by THQ. Not much else to say there. Then we have, if I can put that back, Rugrats Search for Reptar, probably the most well-known of the Nickelodeon PlayStation games. It was developed by N-Space and published by THQ. There you go. And then we have Rugrats Studio Tour, which was also published by THQ and developed by N-Space. So that's pretty good, if you ask me. I mean, it's not a good game, obviously. It's average. It's meh. It's a little baby game. What can you expect? Then we have Rugrats in Paris on PlayStation. Very similar to the N64 one, except it has a little bit more dialogue, and I've already said all the reasons. Whether or not you would consider this one better than the N64 version, I guess, is depending on your preference. But yeah, either way, the games are not that great. It's just a bunch of mini games, so not much to say there. I already discussed the devs and publishers, so no need to go over that. Then we have Rugrats Totally Angelica. 8 out of 5. No, 8.5, not 8 out of 5. I made that mistake last time. What, 8.5 out of 10? No. Pfft. Susie, what have you done? Susie's not even in this game. Why is she on the cover? Why is she on the back? In fact, actually, if I remember correctly, she's on the disc too. What the hell? She got it ripped off. But yeah, this is a girl game. Really, really shitty one at that. It was developed by Art. It doesn't say it on the back. And it was published by THQ. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. Stop. Oh, and on the subject of Art and THQ, they also did this, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, a very lousy Crash Bandicoot clone. I did a Let's Play for this one as well, and it ended horribly. So, yeah, make what you will of that. Oh, boy. Then we have, oh my god, I forgot I had this, Sesame Street Sports. I forgot I bought this so I could cover it for a friend's birthday. And, yeah, I mean, it's not even an EC game, it's E. That's interesting. But, yeah, there's really not much about this. There's not much to say about this. So, it was published by New Kid Co. and developed by Real Time Associates. I think they did some other Sesame Street games, but I'm not so sure. Is Big Bird T-posing? Yes, he is. What the hell? I thought I've seen it all, but no, there you go. The T-posing Big Bird on an official Sesame Street product. Here we have Shrek Treasure Hunt for PlayStation. This was published by TDK and developed once again by Code Monkeys. Not once again. Wait, this is the only Shrek game they developed. Actually, here's an interesting story. You might see the Impulse under TDK. Well, apparently, this game was a part of a special lineup of games that cost only $10. This game retailed for $10. So, this game has a rather infamous reputation. So you could imagine how that probably would be. So, yeah, that is something really interesting. Like, that's a fact I learned. In fact, actually, no. Goofy's Funhouse is basically the same kind of game, except I think that was full price. So, it's kind of weird that one... Does that one get the same amount of hate? I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. But, yeah, that's just a little fact for you. Anytime you see a TDK game with Impulse underneath it, you can expect trouble because it was worth $10, apparently. They probably spent $10 on the game's budget, perhaps. Moving on, SpongeBob Super Sponge on PlayStation. It was developed by Climax and published by THQ. A lot of people seem to love this game. I don't. I actually think this is one of the worst SpongeBob games ever made. In my personal opinion, I cannot stress that enough. I have a lot of personal beef with this game. let's not get into that here. Moving on, we have Spyro the Dragon. Good old Spyro, another good collectathon. I've been meaning to check out the sequels, honestly. I really have. I did finish this one, like, not too long ago. So, like, I really need to get down and get the sequels. Then again, I have, like, the Reignited trilogy. I'm skipping ahead, but I really should try and get around to doing that. It's just I don't have time is all. But this was obviously published by Universal and developed by Insomniac Games. Very nice, very nice. Here we have The Simpsons Wrestling. I think in PAL region it was published by EA, but here in North America it was published by Activision, and overall it was developed by Big Ape Productions or something. I don't know what the thing is, if it's entertainment or productions. I don't really care. This is, for a long time, this was regarded as like the most infamous Simpsons game, the worst one. I think in recent years it's gained a cult following, although, I don't know, I still think it's pretty bad. So, yeah, I don't know about that. Try and put it back now. Of course, it's not going to go back. Okay, it's back. Here's the Wild Thornberrys Animal Adventures. This was published by Mattel and developed by, it doesn't say, but I think it was developed by a company called No Wonder. So, yeah, not much to say about that. Moving on, we have Tigger's Honey Hunt for PlayStation. This is like a side-scroller kind of thing, a 3D side-scroller. It's hard to explain. I don't know what you would call those. Very basic. I don't really have much to say about it. It was published by New Kid Co. and developed by Doki Denki. I almost said that wrong. Also, have anyone ever noticed that like these like New Kid Co. games on PlayStation, I think maybe other systems, but mainly PlayStation, it's just white backgrounds? I mean, like, heck no. Sesame Street Sports had that too. Look at that. In fact, no. I think Goofy's Funhouse. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. What the heck, guys? Where's... Did these games even sell with these kinds of cover arts? I think that Tom and Jerry game I mentioned also had like a white background. So, yeah, that's it's rather interesting. Now I gotta clean this up. All right, mess cleaned up. Moving on, we're almost out of the way of PlayStation. Here's Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue. Honestly, a really great game if you ask me. Probably one of the best Pixar games ever made, and my favorite Toy Story game. It was obviously, again, I've already said the developer and the publisher. If you have to go for any version, I'd say go for this one. This one had, like, the best presentation, if you ask me. So, yeah, definitely in my opinion, one of my favorite PlayStation games of all time. So, there we go. And then we have Toy Story Racer on PlayStation. I think there was a Game Boy Color version, too, but whatever. This one was published by Activision and developed by... Oh, look at that. It was also developed by Traveler's Tales. That's interesting. So, yeah, that's pretty good, and that's all for PlayStation. We are almost to the end of the main shelf. We are moving on to some Xbox stuff down here, starting off with Xbox 360. First up, we have Avatar: The Burning Earth. Yeah, this is like one of the more infamous ones, isn't it? I think I only bought this because for some godforsaken reason, THQ Nordic made this backwards compatible on Series X. I don't know why. This is very much another piece of proof that THQ Nordic does not give a damn. So, goddamn, personal things aside, it was developed by THQ Studio Australia and published by THQ. I think I only played this one for like 30 minutes and then, yeah, just left it. I think the achievements in that, they say, are stupidly easy. You can easily get them, like, ridiculously quickly or whatever. I don't remember. They didn't take much effort. Moving on, we have Cars. This was published by THQ and developed by, hold on, let me see if I can see that, Rainbow Studios. This is basically the same as all the other console versions, except it has better graphics and an additional mode with, like an additional game with Mater, which literally only lasts like 20 seconds long or so, so it's not really worth anything. This one's fine. It's a bunch of racing, so I can't really say much about it. I'll admit, I always have a soft spot for Cars, honestly. I know that's a movie that, like, you know, you're either ride or die for it. I think it's a fine movie, if you ask me. Not a masterpiece, but I like it. And then we have DreamWorks Superstar Karts. Yeah, this is an interesting thing here. This was developed by High Impact Games and published by Activision. I remember I think this was one of the first games I ever got all of the trophies on. I grew up with the PS3 version, but now I have the Xbox 360 version. But yeah, this is one of the first games that had trophies that I got all the trophies on. So that's That's a little embarrassing, isn't it? But whatever. I told you my standards are set too low. Moving on, we have some Lego games. I don't think I had any of these last time. Did I? I don't recall, actually. First up, we have Indiana Jones, Lego Indiana Jones, the original adventures. That's fine. I finally 100%ed this game. Can you believe it? Or at least I got close to it. I don't know. Maybe there was something I was forgetting, but the point is, I usually, I never really completed these Lego games as a kid because, I don't know, I guess I don't really know the reason, but, yeah. Obviously, published by LucasArts and developed by TT Games. That's what Traveler's Tales is now known as. So, yeah, very nice, very nice. Here's another one, Lego Batman, published by, was it Warner Brothers or DC? I don't know which one of them published the game, but it was once again developed by TT Games. Yeah, I think this one was my favorite as a kid, but again, I grew up with the Wii version. This one is currently in my backlog in terms of replaying it. So I guess I just got sick of playing Lego games because I also had rebought Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, on 360. Why did I not buy the complete saga? I don't know. I just wanted to buy this one. Plus, I had like the first game on the original Xbox, so there's that. Why is this one backwards compatible on X Series X and not the first Lego Star Wars game? I have no idea. Some could argue it's because of the complete saga, but that wouldn't explain why this is backwards compatible. So, yeah. Again, TT Games, not much to say there. So, yeah. Then we have Madagascar Karts on 360. Again, similar to the DS game, albeit with better controls and shit. I would say it's still not great. This one was developed by City? Is that how you pronounce it? City? That's an interesting name for a developer. But, whatever, I guess I'm not going to judge. I'm fairly certain that all of these screenshots, aside from this one, like, don't even reflect... Actually, no, it's not that they don't reflect the game. It's just, like, they're weird promo thingies. Huh, kind of weird. But, yeah, and then it was published by Activision, because who else would publish it? Then we have Nicktoons MLB, published by 2Gay, and developed by... High Voltage Software. I almost included the danger, yike. You may notice it has a Kinect thing up here. This is not a Kinect exclusive game, but it does say it does support the Kinect. I've never tried it with the Kinect, so I can't comment on how that is. So, yeah. Moving on is Ratatouille. This is the version that they advertised on television. I actually did see the trailer for that game in the movie theater when I went to see Ratatouille. I don't think I've ever said that before, but there we go. This was the one that was primarily developed by Heavy Iron Studios, and if you ask me, it's really bad. I do not like this one. There is actually one achievement that I completely missed, and it is, well, I missed out on it entirely, and the only way for me to get it again is to restart the whole game from the very beginning. This game is bad. Do not get this one. If you're going to play any version of Ratatouille, I'd say just play the past-gen version. This next-gen version is absolutely terrible. Phooey. Here is... Shrek the Third. I think I finished this game, was it like last year? I don't remember. It was developed by Shaba Games. Did they develop this? There's a bunch of companies here. That definitely doesn't help the situation. Let's take a look at the copyrights down here, or the legal. Maybe, I'm not seeing anything. Okay, maybe you will see something. But it was published by Activision. I found out this game had commentary in the first, like, the commentary for, like, the second level had me dying. It was just the three little pigs fighting over a drink. Man, that was just so funny, honestly. I don't know. But other than that, this game is pretty blah, honestly. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think this was when Activision was just like, they kind of like, yeah, this was not one of their better games. Then we got some SpongeBob stuff. We have SpongeBob Hero Pants. This is like the primary version. It wasn't on like Wii U or PlayStation 3. And this was like 2015, by the way. There wasn't even like Xbox One or PS4. That's kind of stupid that they didn't do anything for those systems. But I guess at this point they didn't care. I mean, Robotic Revenge, they at least tried to make it look professional. This one they just didn't try. They just did things that made it seem like they were saying, yeah, we don't care. We do not care, anybody. But we don't care, everyone. We don't care. That's all we're saying. We just do not care. Again, published by Activision, developed by Behavior Interactive. Not much to say about that. Moving on, we have SpongeBob's Surf and Skate Road Trip. I've been meaning to rebuy the DS one. because I couldn't get far in that one. This is a Kinect game. That should pretty much speak for itself. It's the only Kinect exclusive game I own, and it's also the only Kinect game I've covered on the channel. Probably might be the only one I ever do in general, period. But published by THQ, developed by Blitz Games. Not much to say about that one. It's Kinect, so I can't really say anything good about it. Moving on, we have SpongeBob's Truth or Square for Xbox 360. This is the primary version developed by Heavy Iron Studios, published by THQ. And this one's alright. I wouldn't say it's as good as their other games, but I mean, it's passable. So, yeah, not much to say there. Moving on, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Is based on the 2012 series, published by Activision and developed by Magic Pockets. Interesting. It's a beat-em-up game, except it's very mediocre. Extremely mediocre, in fact. Yeah, I really do not know what to say about this. All four of the turtles are out or are always present at the same time. So, like, I guess somebody was like, okay, clearly we made this thing for multiplayer. You know, kids gonna, I don't even know. It's just a game that exists. Here's another game based on the 2012 series, Danger of the Ooze. It was published by Activision again, and this time developed by Way Forward. I haven't given this game a fair shot. From what I remember, it's like a 2D sort of thing. I mean, not graphically, but, in terms of, like, a platforming sort of thing. So, I might have to give this a second chance. I'm not so sure. So, yeah. It's been stuck in the backlog. Then moving on, we have the Simpsons game. The first and probably only big thing that EA did with the Simpsons, unless you want to count Tapped Out, but I think at this point you can't really count Tapped Out because that was just a mobile game. This was the only major thing I argued that they did, and I don't know if part of that was intentional because some of the stuff they said in this game, but I don't know. It was a fine game regardless. I'd still say Hit and Run is a better Simpsons game, but this one was pretty cool, honestly, especially with all of its jabs towards the gaming industry and such. So, yeah, and they also had, like, a lot of the Simpsons. The people who made the Simpsons were involved with this. Like, they had 2D animated cutscenes and all that. Not counting the in-game ones, which I think they were actually rendered cutscenes in other versions. But, like, this is the primary version along with the PS3 version. Might cover this next year. I'm not so sure. I'm still thinking about it. This was developed, I believe, by one of EA's in-house studios. So I don't really have much to say about who developed it. Then we have Toy Story 3. This is the primary version with the Toy Box mode, developed by Avalanche Software. This one, I like this one. This was a good one too, if you ask me. It's kind of a middle. Do I prefer this one or Toy Story 2? It's pretty hard actually. But yeah, I don't know. This one's pretty good. I like this one too. But then we have some Xbox One and Series games, if you will. They're all like mixed together because of backwards compatibility, so I'm just like, screw it. Plus, some of them double as both games for both systems, so I just decided, screw it. Let's just combine them all. It's a huge mess, but let's get right through it here. First up, we have Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, developed by Toys for Bob and published by Activision. This one was fine. It was really big, so yeah, there's that. Then we have, if I can put this back, which obviously I can't without everything falling over, we have Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. This is obviously the collection of remakes from Activision and Vicarious Visions. Really good. Probably one of the best examples of how to remake a game, if you ask me. So, yeah, that's very nice. Moving on, we have Lego Dimensions. Yeah, I got back into Lego Dimensions. I guess because I realized I never really finished it. I pulled out all of the packs that I used to have in the attic. And, yeah. Eventually, I stopped. I got sidetracked with other things. But, yeah. I think this is one of the only Toys to Life games I ever really got into. Disney Infinity I was into for a while, but that's not a sort of thing I'd go back to for a number of reasons, especially with, like, the community being dead and all that, at least to my knowledge. I could be entirely wrong, but I really don't care anymore. So, yeah, really big game, really big. Can't really say much about it otherwise, though, because it's, at the end of the day, it's just a Toys to Life thing. Here's Lego The Incredibles. That title is... oh, whatever. obviously that, by the way, this was Warner Brothers Games and TT Games, obviously. And so is this one. Seeing Warner Brothers on the front of a case with Disney, that sounds right, doesn't it? Kind of weird that they made a Lego game for The Incredibles. I mean, I know there was like a Lego Junior thing going on around the time. I think there's actually an ad for it in the case. Yeah, look at that. It all comes together in the end. So, yeah, but, I just find it weird that, yeah, they did this, even though, I don't know. It's fine. I think, you know, this was around the time that I had grown out of the Lego games, but this piqued my interest just because of the idea of a Lego Incredibles game. So yeah. I think they started the game with the second movie and not the first one. I mean, I know it came out around the same time as the second movie, but I mean, dude, you can't go out of order like that. That's an absolute, threw me for a loop, let's just say that. Here we have Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, developed by Ludosity and Fair Play Labs, and it was published by Game Mill Entertainment. This one was fine. I remember when this was announced, this was the one, I think this was the first Game Mill Nickelodeon game to actually make an impact, or like to actually get attention. I remember it was nominated for a Game Award. I don't even think THQ Nordic accomplished that before this. So that's a little sad. I mean, obviously it didn't win, obviously, but like, that's a notable thing. It got nominated. So, yeah. Not much to say about that. It's a fighting game. Here's the sequel, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. I did buy this one digitally, but I wanted to get it physically. But the problem is there was a pre-order bonus with Patrick. And, okay, I know this is probably just me, but I need to get this off my chest. I hate pre-order bonuses because it basically forces you to buy the game digitally. And that's not something that I always like doing, unless it depends on the circumstances. But yeah, it was one of those situations where the pre-order bonus was indeed a pre-order bonus, and it wouldn't be available afterwards, so yeah. Eventually, I did pick this up. I had a hard time finding an Xbox copy for this game physically. I found out, again, just as of recently, Xbox ports of games, some games, they're just not as, like, you know, they're not putting them out as much as the other systems. I think it's because Microsoft is not doing so well with Xbox at the moment. A lot of people are saying, oh yeah, they're done. They're running out of time. They're going to join Sega. They're going to pull a Sega soon. And I guess they kind of have started doing that because they've been porting, like, I think Halo games to PlayStation or something. I'm not so sure. But, yeah, I don't know. Same devs, same shit. I just realized I put that in the wrong spot. Oops. Here is Nickelodeon Kart Racers 1, the first game that Game Mill Entertainment did with Bam-Tang Entertainment. This is the worst Nickelodeon game I've ever played, and one of the worst kart racing games I ever played. Would I say it's the worst? Probably, actually. Some of you may remember from the video game collection video I did last year, I used to own the Switch version physically. Although I sold that, I only got $5 for it, but hey, I'm surprised I got anything for it at all, honestly. And, because I sold it because I forgot I actually owned the Switch version digitally. That's how I first got the game. So I was just like, what's the point? Especially if I have this now and I don't have it digitally on Xbox, I'm just like, screw it. Yeah. Also, it's, so far to my knowledge, it's the only Game Mill Nickelodeon game with a proper logo on the spine. A proper logo on the spine. All these other games have, like, these generic, like, this generic font, which is really, really lousy if you ask me, but what can you do? Moving on here, we have the sequel, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 Grand Prix, same dev, same publisher, despite the fact that it is a sequel to that game, and it has freaking JoJo Siwa in it, I'd say it was a massive improvement. Ignoring the lack of dialogue still, I'd say that it was a far better kart racing game than Kart Racers 1. Like, leaps and bounds ahead. So, yeah, Game Mill Entertainment proved me wrong, and at this point, I had loosened up to them a little bit. And, again, still have to be cautiously optimistic with them since they are technically a kids publisher. But, you know, it's gotten to the point where they are aware that there are people who deeply care about, you know, these kind of things. So, yeah, they put more... you know, then again, no, the one I'm holding right now doesn't really apply to that. This is Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3, Slime Speedway. I mean, this should be a freaking masterpiece. I mean, we have Garfield on a motorcycle. I mean, come on, dude. That's just like a match made in heaven. We got Jimmy Neutron, But no, this game completely went in the wrong direction, if you ask me. Other than voice acting, if you ask me, this was a mess. And I have to fault online unlockables. And I'm not talking about just achievements. I mean, like, they had, like, unlockables. This bike that SpongeBob is riding here, that is the last thing you can unlock online. And it takes, like, 170 matches you have to win to get that. Bam Tang is a piece of shit. So, yeah. To my knowledge, this is their most recent Nickelodeon game. Actually, no. I think that might have been that Avatar game, like Quest for Balance. I never played it, so I can't comment. But, yeah. If you ask me, this was a step in the wrong direction. But, I mean, I guess I played worse car racing games. It still doesn't come... It's nowhere near as bad as the first game, but... I don't know. This one just really rubbed me the wrong way, so, not much to say about this. The next one is actually a bit of a mixed bag. Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. Yes, Game Mill Entertainment finally decided to take a jab at the whole Nicktoons Unite-esque kind of thing. I mean, this is not a Nicktoons Unite game, obviously. This was developed by Fair Play Labs, who did the All-Star Brawl games, and it was also developed by Petty Fabric, or something. That's what it was called, which is interesting. It features, just get this, it features Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom, SpongeBob, and Fairly Odd Parents. Yes, this Game Mill Entertainment were the ones to reunite the Nicktoons Unite gang and not THQ Nordic. Think about that for a second. And then we had Avatar, we had 2012 Ninja Turtles, we had Rugrats, we had My Life as a Teenage Robot. That was pretty neat. And the characters actually interacted with each other this time. It wasn't like All-Star Brawl 2 where only, like, characters from the same shows could interact. No, everyone here was interacting. Okay, but it was a little limited with the NPC characters, but for the most part, you know, characters in this were off the walls. There were some characters in here I was super happy to see. I would love to say who they are, but, again, the game is still relatively new, so I can't really say that. All I will say is, though, the gameplay itself, pretty lousy. I mean, it was like a beat-em-up sort of thing. So I can't really, actually, no, that's not even what this genre was. It was like an RPG sort of thing. Not really by much, honestly. Let's be real. And it was like an action-based one. The levels are my biggest problem of this game, is that all the levels are like copy-paste, copy-paste. They're all like identical. And as a result, I'd say that the game is pretty lousy as a result. But, I mean, just for, if you were a kid growing up in, like, the early 2000s or mid-2000s and you played Nicktoons Unite, I think, you know, the idea of these characters going on a big adventure with a story and all that, like, that alone was enough for me to be like, okay, shut up and take my money. I really hope they do take another attempt at this. Just make sure the levels are actually levels and not repeated Lego things. It's hard to explain. I don't really want to get into it here. Moving on, we're almost off of this whole bookshelf in general. We have Project Spark, which was like Microsoft's answer to the whole Game Maker formula. They did not support it for too long. It was by Microsoft themselves. They did not support it. I think they stopped supporting this game after a year, which, I mean, hey, I guess, I don't know what can you make of that. I only bought this for Conker's Big Reunion, which is included in, the starter pack here. So, yeah, that's the only reason why I bought it. No other reason otherwise would I have bought it. So, yeah, I think it went here. There we go. Okay, moving on, we have Rare Replay, which is a collection of various games developed by Rare. I think this was this done in honor of an anniversary? I think maybe it was. Let me take a look here. 2015. Okay, this was definitely like their 30th, I'd say. I mean, there's 30 games. I'd imagine if it's 30 games, it has to be their 30th. I don't remember, actually. I know this year it was their anniversary, again, and they had a nice little, like, Xbox background. Nothing else major, though. But, yeah, this had, like, a lot of great games. You had Banjo-Kazooie, you had Conker. So, yeah, if you're a fan of, like, the Rare games, then I suppose this is a must-buy, obviously. Plus, it's like, that's 30 games right there for, like, actually, I don't remember how much this was, but, like, it definitely wasn't, like, it was, like, 40, maybe? I don't remember how much it was. Probably goes for cheaper now, but, yeah, it's definitely a must-buy for anyone who's a fan of, like, Rare's work. So, yeah. Moving on, probably the most disappointing game of 2024, in my opinion, Rugrats Adventures in Gameland. Now, this one was on my radar ever since they announced it in 2023. Yeah, it took about a year for the game to come out. And, yeah, as a result, it made me think that this was going to be a big deal. It was developed by Mix and Wallride. and it really disappointed. It was very short. It was just, they basically made an NES game and slapped a big price tag on it. Then again, no, I guess I can fault the physical for the price tag, and you know why that is? It's because this was handled by Limited Run. If this was digital, it'd be like $20 or so, maybe $30, I don't remember, but this was $40 as a result. They also did an NES version, which was $60. Not even worth it. I want to point out that these, like, next gen, like, the versions on current consoles have an HD mode, which was clearly included, not as an option, but just to pad out the game, if you ask me. And, yeah, this game was pretty lousy as a result. I mean, it wasn't, like, a poorly designed, I mean, there were some NES-esque kind of things in it, but, like, I don't know. I've played worse, but it was a major letdown, and for the price, I'd argue it really was not worth it. It's way too short. I really think the NES version is to fault here. In fact, I heard that those were actually defected, and they could damage NESs, so yeah, there was a recall too, I think. So yeah, this game flopped harder than I thought it ever would. I mean, it was a Rugrats game. It was gonna flop regardless, because that's just the nature of Rugrats games. But it flopped harder than I ever could have imagined. So, please, just no more Rugrats games, okay? Just leave my Rugrats alone. I'd rather them not be in any more games, because the internet is... we all know how those always end up turning out. So, let's just stop doing that. Moving on with some SpongeBob games here. Here's SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. This is a, quote, remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom. Published by THQ Nordic, because everyone was harassing them practically to start publishing Nickelodeon games. That if you ask me, that was a horrible idea. People are gullible. And then it was developed by Purple Lamp Studios. I have no comment on this game. I really don't. I do not have the strength, actually. Although their next game, SpongeBob The Cosmic Shake, I can say a little bit more about. They did redeem themselves here in most places. And I thought this was a decent little game. Not great by any means, but I thought it was a lot better than Rehydrated in terms of, like, polish and all that. So, yeah, I did a Let's Play for that this year, back in May, and that turned out really well. Again, Purple Lamp Studios and THQ Nordic. You may notice I do not have the new one that came out, Titans of the Tide. Well, that's a lie. I do own it, albeit digitally on Switch 2. I did pre-order the Xbox version physically. But wouldn't you know it, it kept getting delayed because Amazon wasn't set to send those out until December 9th, which was 3 weeks after the game launched. And then there was another delay, and then Nintendo announced that pre-orders for the Virtual Boy add-on for NSO Expansion Pack was up for pre-order. And I thought, you know, it's a pre-order. The payment probably won't go through until like a week before it launches in February. Wrong. Payment went through right away. So I had to cancel the pre-order for Titans of the Tide. And you don't know why I even pre-ordered the thing in the first place. It was because of the pre-order bonus, which, by the way, ended up becoming available for regular purchase after the game launched. All I can say is, I hate THQ Nordic, I hate pre-order bonuses, I hate Nintendo, and I hate me. Let's stop talking about corporate stuff and talk about baby games. Here's the Patrick Star game. Why do I say this is a baby game? Well, look at the publisher. It's Outright Games. Yeah, they heavily specialize in kids. I think even they were like, in the marketing for this game, they were just saying like, your children will love the Patrick Star game. Yeah, they clearly specialize. This is their way of saying, hey, dum-dums, this isn't for you. But I mean, it is notable because it is a fully explorable sandbox Bikini Bottom, which no other game really did that, unless you want to count like the Minecraft pack for SpongeBob, or the SpongeBob pack from Minecraft. But yeah, or some other, like, stuff. But, yeah, this was, I think, the first console game that tried doing that. I think that's the only reason why I bought it. But everything else, I was just like, yeah, it's not gonna be much. And it wasn't much. But, I don't know. Clearly, this is meant for kids. It's like a goat simulator kind of game. You gotta love the case, by the way. It's just Patrick's face. A lot of people thought that this was also going to be associated with the Patrick Star Show, but it wasn't. It was centered around SpongeBob. I figured that, honestly, because, I mean, why would it have the SpongeBob logo on it? If it was a Patrick Star Show game, I feel like they would have had, like, the Patrick Star Show logo on it. But, yeah, pretty weird. Actually, I just thought of something. Yeah, Outright Games made a SpongeBob game, but Game Mill Entertainment has yet to make their own proper standalone SpongeBob game. It's kind of interesting. Maybe they shouldn't. I'm not so sure. Clearly, there aren't any rights, because as I said, Nickelodeon does not have exclusive publishers, obviously. So there's that. Okay, we're almost out of Xbox One and Series X. Here's the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, another fantastic example of how to remake a game. And I realized I forgot who the developer was for this game. Who was it? PHL. Good for you, buddy boy. Nice. Not, whatever. But yeah, Reignited Trilogy is another great example of how to remake a game, if you ask me, or remake games. So, yeah, it was developed by Toys for Bob and published by Activision. Very nice. And then we have quite the collection here. We have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. This was published by Konami, who developed all of the games that were in this collection, and the collection itself was put together by Digital Eclipse, which I cannot find on the back of this box. Lovely. But yeah, this is a must-have for any Ninja Turtle fans, if you ask me. It has a lot of great games on here, including the arcade games. So, yeah, very nice, very nice. And subject of arcade games and Ninja Turtles, that moves us to the final game on this shelf, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade, Wrath of the Mutants. This is a port of the 2017 arcade game for Ninja Turtles, which was based on the 2012 series. That in particular was developed by Raw Thrills, but this particular port was handled by Cradle Games, and it was published by Game Mill Entertainment. I actually did see and play, or at least tried out the arcade version this year at an arcade I went to, and either it was just the settings they had it set to, or I thought the arcade version was pretty lousy in comparison. They added 2 extra levels to this game and a bunch of new bosses. As a result, I would say this is the better version, obviously, but I mean, you know, $40 for a 1-hour game, that's a little... No, I don't know about that. That's asking a little bit too much. I don't know. You'd have to be like a hardcore fan of the arcade game to actually consider buying this for the full price. I only bought it because I got nothing better to do with myself. So there we go. And that's all the games on this shelf. That was sloppy as ever, but we are not done. I have another bookshelf and some other stuff to look at, so let's do that. All right, here's my second bookshelf, which is largely reserved for PC games. This first shelf is all big box games. I ran out of room, so I had to start stacking them. So yeah, it's not really good, but let's get started here. Technically not alphabetical in a sense, but this is Mickey Saves the Day. I wouldn't have been able to tell otherwise because the logo is like at the bottom left of the box. If I had known any better, I thought it was freaking Disney Junior Games age 4 to 8 3D adventure, because that's totally a realistic name for a game, isn't it? But yeah, this is a crappy point-and-click game. It was developed by one of them. I find it hard to believe. Human Code. That's a funny name, isn't it? Yeah, not much to say about that. Then we have, if I can pull it out here, The Simpsons Virtual Springfield, which is like a game where you can explore Springfield. It was published by Fox Interactive and developed by that company right there, Digital something. I can't read it because it's not focusing. So, I don't know. You'll have to... That's all I'm going to have to leave you with that one. This box is actually pretty cool, actually. I think there were, like, other releases where it didn't have this kind of thing to it. But, yeah, I always kind of like that. It's a very cheap material, though. Like, you could easily break that. That could easily tear. So, yeah. And then we have the Muppets CD-ROM, Muppets Inside. This game is pretty monotonous, too. It was developed by Starwave. I don't know if they distributed it too. Probably, if I had to make a guess. I'm not exactly too sure. So yeah, this one's kind of like a board game box, and it actually has a huge-ass manual in there, which also has a bunch of stuff about Jim Henson and the various performers who worked with the Muppets. So that's pretty cool, but the game itself is not much. And then here's a new addition that wasn't here last time. SpongeBob Typing! The greatest SpongeBob game ever freaking made. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. This was developed by... this was published, or I guess distributed by The Learning Company, but it was developed by Riverdeep. So, yeah, I could be wrong. Then again, no, didn't Imagine Engine develop this game, and then Riverdeep were the publishers? But if that's the case, then what's with the Learning Company? I don't know how it works. I swear I remember Imagine Engine being in here one way or another. I could be wrong. Maybe it's Riverdeep who's the real publisher. I'm not so sure. I have to remember with these kind of games, I have to show this off. This flip open shit. So, yeah. Would you like to see a live stream for this? next year. It's probably going to be gloriously shit, but whatever, I'll do it. Why the hell not? And, okay, that's enough of the top stuff, so now we can move on to the meat and potatoes of this. So first up we have Blues ABC Time Activities. It's Blues Clues, obviously. I only own this because I grew up with it. This was developed and published by Humongous Entertainment, who made a lot of those, who made a lot of point-and-click games that I'm sure many of y'all remember from the 90s and shit, like Pajama Sam and Putt Putt and Freddy Fish and Star Fox. Spy Fox, not Star Fox, Spy Fox. That was the biggest screw-up of all time. I mean, bro, there's similar things. Okay, I'm gonna move away from that before I attract too many people in the comments. Here's Cat Dog, Quest for the Golden Hydrant. It has one of those flip thingies. Here we go. Yeah, this is literally the whole game in here. I think the back of the box doesn't even show, like, yeah, these are not even screenshots from the game. I mean, these stills are in the game, but they don't reflect the gameplay, which is just fantastic. Great way to sell a product. This was developed by Nowhere. I'm getting nowhere with this video. And then, it was published by Hasbro Interactive. That's what I was looking for. Not much else to say about this game. So these games are really big and awkward to handle, so you have to be careful. Here's the PC version of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, which came out around the same time as the movie. This was developed by Awe Productions and published by THQ. Not much to say about that. I've been wanting to revisit that one for some time. I just haven't gotten around to it. Here is Nickelodeon Directors Lab, which is like a multimedia software thingamajig art studio kind of thing. It has stuff with Melissa Joan Hart. That's pretty cool, like on-screen help. That's interesting. This had a lot of, like, I think this is one of the first instances of a software, if you will, with a bunch of Nickelodeon IPs, like Ren and Stimpy and Rugrats and Double Dare. I think Guts was also in here, if I remember. I can't remember every show that was in it, but yeah, it wasn't just Nicktoons. So yeah, and this was published by Viacom New Media. I'm not sure who developed it. Whatever. Then we have Nickelodeon Brain Bender. Another one of these big clumsy things here. This was published by Mattel and developed by, I have no idea. It probably says it on the bottom of the box. It does not say it on the bottom of the box. How about the side of the box? No, it doesn't. Okay, well, I guess I don't know who developed that one. Here's the PC version of Party Blast. Enough said. Here is the, no, that's not PC version. This is the only one. This is Nickelodeon Toon Twister 3D, a movie-making software. It was published by Scholastic and developed by Way Forward. Rather interesting. This box is not in the greatest of condition. I did order it in good condition, and it got damaged in shipping. So that's nice. This is one instance where it did not pay off in the end, but what can you do? Then we have Nicktoons. Nicktoons, this is a karaoke game for babies. It was published by Infogrames and developed by Imagine Engine. Yeah, I think I covered this thing like 5 years ago. Can you believe that? And, you know, just when I thought that I was finally miles away from this stinking game, somebody goes ahead and makes a meme out of it with my almost no commentary video, and now people won't stop bothering me about that. So whoever you were who did that, thank you very much for doing that. You've ruined my life. It also has this as well. There's that, and it comes with a big stupid microphone. This game, I just wish it did not happen. I wish I didn't cover it now. It all comes back. It always comes back to this stinking game. Whatever. Moving on, we have the PC version of Nicktoons Racing. I think this was the first one. It was published by Hasbro Interactive instead of Infogrames, and was developed by the same people, Software Creations, right there. And, yeah, this one is honestly the best version, if you ask me, just graphically, if you're that kind of person who's into graphics. Then we have Rocket Power Extreme Arcade Games. This is just like a crappy activity center with just 4 games. 4 games! Yeah, this is the whole game. This is the whole game. That one and that don't even reflect the game. That's hilarious. Okay, how do they expect to sell these things to kids? Back in the day, I mean, of course, this wouldn't matter nowadays. I'm not. You know what? I can't pronounce that. I don't live on the moon. Published by THQ. Not much I could say about this game. I think I got this in the bid for $5. That says a lot now, doesn't it? Probably not. I don't know. Here is probably one of the worst point-and-click games I ever played, the Rugrats adventure game. I did a Let's Play for it this year. That's how much it sucked. And it was by Broderbund, or Bruderbund. How do you say it? They had like a deal to make Rugrats games. It only lasted for like 3 games, and that was it. So, like a year, I think. I don't even know. I do not like that one. And we have the PC version of Rugrats in Paris. Do I really actually want to call it a PC version? Because it's not even from the same publisher. Well, the other versions we're going to see, the versions we have seen and another version you'll see was by THQ. This one was by Mattel, and it was developed by No Wonder. No wonder why this video is falling apart. Then we have Rugrats Mystery Adventures, which was also published by Mattel, and I think it was developed by Nowhere. Yeah. I want to point out that actually the Rugrats Adventure game, that is technically a smaller box re-release. The original release was in a bigger box like this and flipped open like this, which that one does not. So, yeah, not much to say. So, yeah, not much else to say. I don't really have much to say because this game, there's not really much to, there's not a lot to this game. So, there's that. Here we have SpongeBob Operation Krabby Patty, published by THQ and developed by Awe Productions. Plankton, your colors are slightly off there. Not much to say about this. This was the first SpongeBob PC game I played. Yeah. Not much to say about this one. And then finally, for big box PC games, we have the Rugrats movie Activity Challenge, which was also developed and published by Broderbund. Or maybe somebody else developed it. I'm not so sure. I don't care. Yeah. Say Rugrats. The Rugrats movie got the short end when it came to video games, if you ask me. Yeah. Wait, 180 different levels? Just for the record, these games that you're seeing here, these are all of the games. So that would mean they'd have to repeat these that many times. That's a little absurd, don't you think? I mean, unless you want to count that one. That's a bonus level. Okay, that's, I don't know if I'll cover this one. That might be a mess, actually, but who knows? Only time will tell. Shelf number 2 of this bookshelf is the Game Boy game. Okay, this is a Tiger Electronics game of Rugrats. I forgot I had this. I actually did a video for this. Did I do a video for this? No, I did do a video for this. Huh. I forgot all about that. Let's just, put this in here for now. There we go. All right, but let's focus on the Game Boy games here. The first one might come to us as a surprise to some. We have, Kirby's Dream Land. Yeah, this is, I've realized I never owned Kirby's Dream Land physically. Obviously, Nintendo and HAL Laboratory. I finally decided to get this one complete in box. This is authentic, believe it or not. Yeah, how do you like that? I got another complete in-box Game Boy game, and it was a first-party one. This marks the first. So, yeah, there's that. Very nice. Here's another one. It is Ren and Stimpy Space Cadet Adventures. This one's really lousy. I cannot get past the first level. According to the manual, there's only 4. And just for the record, that level with Ren right there is not the first level. It's a level with Stimpy, so I don't know if I'll ever make it there. This was published by THQ, and I don't know who developed it. So, yeah, whoop-de-doo. It says poster included. This one I got off of eBay does come with it, which is kind of surprising. And then I did get another complete in box Game Boy game this year. This one was the only one I had for a long time, but I finally bit the bullet and got the Game Boy version of the Rugrats movie game. Mistake? Yes, big mistake. I've finally seen other people's thoughts on this game, and they say it's ridiculously easy to the point where it's not even worth playing. Although I'm inclined to disagree. I think this game is brutal as all hell because of how the whole item situation works. So, I don't know, maybe it's like a freaking... Is it like a Mandela effect or something? I'm not so sure. Regardless, I don't really like this game. I'd say this is one of the worst Rugrats games ever made. But yeah, this is the Game Boy version. It has Super Game Boy content, although it's just a border. It's not anything spectacular, so yeah, not much there. Moving on, we have Blue's Clues, Blue's Alphabet Book, another EC game because I've only done this to myself. We're on the Game Boy Color now, obviously. I forgot who developed this one. Published by THQ and developed by, it doesn't say, but Software Creations. Yeah. And then, moving on to this one, this was developed by Vicarious Visions, who did the Insane trilogy. That's hilarious, and it was published by Mattel. Yeah, not much to say about this one since it is an EC game, so, like, what can I say about it? Here's the Game Boy Color version of Nicktoons Racing. It was published by Hasbro and developed by, it doesn't say, but I think it was developed by a company called Pipe Dream Interactive or something. Pipe Dream, huh? That's a rather interesting name. They got the names for the Angry Beavers swapped, which is, it's a big no-no in my book. So, whoop-de-doo. Here we have Rocket Power Getting Air. Same reason why I own all these other damn Rocket Power games. Published by THQ, and it's developed by, it doesn't say, but it was like Tier Tex or something was the name. I don't remember. It was like a red and blue logo. They developed another game that we'll get to. Here we have Rugrats in Paris on Game Boy Color. Published by THQ. This one was also developed by Software Creations. It says it there, actually. Cannot get past the first proper level of this game. I guess, I don't know, because it's not clear or something. I don't remember. Then we have Rugrats Time Travelers, also published by THQ and developed by Software Creations. This one does fix one of the issues I had with the Rugrats movie game, and I actually have beaten it. I actually beat it relatively recently this year, I think back in the summer. So, whether or not this one is eligible for cartoon gameplay, I don't know. Probably not yet, so who knows. Also, who thought it was a good idea to put the babies in a time travel scenario with no parents present? This is not imagination to my knowledge. This is actually, they actually go through time in this game. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. This is also a black cartridge game, so it is backwards compatible on the original Game Boy and the Super Game Boy, so that's a fact. Moving on, we have Totally Angelica for the Game Boy... No, I'm sorry. No, for the Game Girl Color, because that's totally funny. Published by THQ and developed by... I don't remember the name again. Same people who did the Rocket Power game on Game Boy Color. Again, we're not dwelling on that any longer, because that game should not exist. Moving on to SpongeBob's first standalone game, SpongeBob Legend of the Lost Spatula. It was published by THQ and developed by Vicarious Visions, who did some other SpongeBob games that we'll get to. This was a re-release, if you will, after the Game Boy Advance launched. I had no idea that was a thing until I got this, so yeah, apparently they made versions after the Game Boy Advance version launched, so interesting. Not much to say about that. Then we have the Game Boy Color version of Rugrats, the Rugrats movie game. Wouldn't you know it, it is a black cartridge game, so it is backwards compatible, which begs the question, why wouldn't you have just held off on making this? Doesn't make any sense. It does also include the Super Game Boy stuff. There are slight differences in terms of, like, difficulty and, like, different execution and shit, but for the most part, it's the same game, especially including the Game Boy version. So, yeah, plus the manual is also in color, and the Game Boy release, it was in black and white. And I think there's an additional driving level. Yeah, there's an additional driving level on Game Boy Color. So, yeah. But again, not much. I will say this one is a little bit easier, but again, it's not much. I wouldn't say it's on the same level as everyone else is saying. And then moving on to Game Boy Advance. Let's do it. First up, we have All Grown Up Express Yourself. Well, this is a great start, isn't it? Published by THQ and developed by Altron, I believe. It doesn't say. I think I only own this game because, well, I mean, it was the only all-grown-up game, and I found it on a website for like $10. Complete in box. So, I mean, I'll take what I can get. I'm pathetic. My standards are... Okay, not even my standards. I don't even know what I'd say about that if I can just get the box back in its place. Okay, I did it. Moving on, we have Danny Phantom, the Ultimate Enemy. My sister grew up playing this game a lot. As a result, I sometimes borrowed it from her. I think I actually finally had progressed a bit more in this game, because originally I couldn't get past like one of the first proper Danny levels because it required you to run to go through walls, and I couldn't figure out how to do that as a kid. So yeah, I only just started making progress in this game as of recently, which is probably not a good thing. At its core, it's just a basic beat-em-up game, so I can't really say much about it. I think there's another Danny Phantom game on Game Boy Advance and DS. I think it was like Urban Jungle or something. And that was Altron, I believe. I forget. Did I mention to say that? I don't know, whatever. On the subject of Altron, they also did this game, the Hey Arnold movie game. This has also been in my backlog. If I remember correctly, I think Abner was an enemy in this game. which just goes to show, just it's really nice that they know their source material so well, because everyone knows Abner is like the villain of Hey Arnold. He definitely isn't Arnold's pet or anything. Okay, whatever. I'm going to stop with that. If you don't believe me, look it up. Here's the Game Boy Advance version of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, which released alongside the PC version. Look at this description in the back. Oh my god, it's so bleak. Like, after occasionally saving the world from total destruction, Jimmy Neutron is a boy genius who likes to hang out with his robot dog Goddard and his best friend Carl Weiser. Dude, even like the PC game like has a better description. That's just crazy. This was published by THQ and developed by, I think, a company called HumanSoft. So, yeah, not much to say about that one. Then we have Mario Kart Super Circuit. Obviously, this was Nintendo. I think it was developed by Intelligent Systems. There was some Paper Mario references in here. But yeah, this is a, it's funny with this one. This is very similar to Super Mario Kart, albeit with elements of Mario Kart 64. For that reason alone, I always thought it was better, but this year, after I figured out how the drifting works in Super Mario Kart, I wondered if that's the same thing in Super Circuit, and lo and behold, it was. And as a result, I've basically learned how to break this game in half. Yeah, I got insanely good at this game, and now I can greatly say I am a fan of Super Circuit. Yes, I actually like Mario Kart Super Circuit now. Ever since I figured out how the drifting works in this game, I tore this game apart. In a good way, obviously. So yeah, I never thought I'd be saying that about Super Circuit, but yeah, I like this one. This one's actually pretty good once you figure out how the drifting works. Then we have Nicktoons Freeze Frame Frenzy. I don't remember exactly what the game was based on. I always say like Pokemon Snap because that's like the first one that comes to mind, but I think it's something else, something more obscure. But yeah, this was developed by Altron and published by THQ. A lot of mistakes were made in this game in terms of like character names and such. I'm not going to get into it here. Here we have, if I can get that back in, the Game Boy Advance version of Nicktoons Racing. This version was published by Infogrames and was developed by, I think, Crawfish Interactive was the name. There we go. Yeah, very similar to Mario Kart Super Circuit, except I'd say it controls better. It's got, like, you know, the drifting of, like, the console Mario Kart games, which is kind of hilarious. But, yeah, I'd say it's alright. I've played worse, especially on the Game Boy Advance. Okay, I know I'm going out of order, but these games up top are proving to be a problem. Very much like the big box games, I had to start stacking games because I ran out of room. So I think it's important that we knock all these out of the way first. So here is the Game Boy Advance version of Super Sponge. I like this better than the whatchamacallit, the PS1 version, but even then it's not great by any means. It looks very bootleggish. I think the title screen doesn't even have Super Sponge on it. So yeah, it was also developed by Climax and published by THQ, so not much else to say there. Then we have SpongeBob's Atlantis SquarePants. This was SpongeBob's last game on the Game Boy Advance. It was developed by Altron, who did the game, the DS version. There are some similarities in it too, so that's there's that. And it was published by THQ, so nice, I suppose. Then we have Jimmy Neutron versus Jimmy Negatron on Game Boy Advance. We'll get to the PC version soon. That's a million times better than this. This game is bad. It was published by THQ and also developed by HumanSoft, who did the GBA version of Jimmy Neutron. This tries to copy the style of the PC game, and as a result, it's terrible. You end up getting pushed back to, like, checkpoints and shit every time you get hit by an enemy. Not when you die or fall into a pit or something, when you get hit by an enemy. Simply that, which is... It's enough to wreck the whole game, and yeah, I don't see myself ever beating this one. That game is just dreadful. Another dreadful game, in my opinion, is the Fairly OddParents Enter the Cleft, which was the Fairly OddParents' first game on Game Boy Advance. Also developed by Altron and published by THQ. My issue with this game is that the enemies all lunge at you. Even on, like, the first level, the most basic enemies lunge at you. As a result, it's hard to kill them, from my experience. And, yeah, honestly, I don't ever see myself beating this one either. Maybe one day I'll give it a proper second chance, but as it stands, I can't stand it. Here's something interesting. The Game Boy Advance version of The Simpsons Road Rage. This version was not published by EA, instead it was published by THQ, and it was developed by, it doesn't say, but it was also developed by Altron. Also note, it's an E-rated game. That's hilarious. I've heard that the Hit and Run was supposed to have something like this, but it didn't happen due to EA snagging up exclusive licensing or exclusive rights to the Simpsons video games. So, yeah, that's pretty lousy, but oh well. I don't think it would have been good or anything, but it's just a thing. Probably would have been like the first GTA if I had to make a guess. Moving on, we have the Game Boy Advance version of the SpongeBob movie game. This was published by THQ and developed by WayForward. This was the first SpongeBob game I had on Game Boy, so there's that. I remember when I got this in stores, actually. This obviously isn't my childhood copy. This is a copy I later rebought. This is another game I bought in pretty good condition online, and it got damaged in shipping, so that's lovely. Thank you to whoever sold me this, you piece of shit. And I just dropped that. That can't be good. Alright, these two games are just laying down. I'm going to move them down here. So first up, these are both Wild Thornberrys games. We have the Wild Thornberrys Chimp Chase. It was published by THQ and developed by, I don't remember. I think it was Helix. I don't remember. Something like that. Haven't really given this game a fair chance. I really need to, I need to do that. And then we have the Wild Thornberrys movie game. This is actually a port of the PC game, which we'll get to. It was published by THQ and developed by Humansoft. So, yeah. And they also did the PC game, so... But again, we'll get to there when we do. But let's get back to this, because I had to go off topic a bit because that was in the way. Here is the Game Boy Advance version of Nicktoons Unite. It was, again, it was developed by the same people who did the DS version, which was Climax, and it was published by THQ. So, yeah, really weird. And then here's the Game Boy Advance version of Rocket Power Beach Bandits, published by THQ and developed by, don't remember the name again, same people who did that, the Wild Thornberrys Chimp Chase game. I think they also developed this one, Rocket Power Dream Scheme, published by THQ. Not much to say about this one. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. Then we have the last Rocket Power game that I have, thank goodness. Rocket Power Zero Gravity Zone, published by THQ and developed by Altron. It doesn't say, but hey, you know what? I don't really give a crap, so whoopity-doo. And then we have some Rugrats. We have Rugrats Castle Capers, published by THQ and developed by, it does say Software Creations. This is essentially the Game Boy Advance version of Rugrats Royal Ransom, although it came out a year earlier, which is funny to me, but what can you do? I remember I got this as a Christmas gift. Again, not this specific copy, but as a kid I got this as a Christmas gift, which is really nice. And then I remember, I also got this as a gift too, but I don't remember what the occasion was for. The Game Boy Advance version of Rugrats Go Wild. I did cover the PC version I think last year, and it was a huge mess. This is, to my recollection, although not great, this one was better, which is sad. But it was published by THQ and developed by, I don't remember. I think Imagine Engine, who did the PC game. So yeah, kind of funny when you think that. When you think of that. Then we have another one. This is the last Rugrats game on Game Boy that I haven't shown yet. Rugrats I Gotta Go Party. That name you could totally take out of context. It's a party game of sorts. It was published by THQ and developed by, I think it was developed by a company called Eurocom or something. The music, at the title screen music is absolutely ear-grating. So there's that. And, yeah, also, yeah, 4-player. You could play up to 4 players. And I think this had a single cart mode, but I don't remember how restrictive it was. So, yeah, not much to say about this one. And then some more SpongeBob. We have the Game Boy Advance version of Battle for Bikini Bottom. This was published by THQ and developed by Vicarious Visions. Very nice. I suppose it's like a puzzle platformer sort of thing. So, I mean, it's fine. Some people hate it, so there's that. A lot of people hate it, I should say. Here's the Game Boy Advance version of Creature from the Krusty Krab, published by THQ and developed by WayForward. This borrows a lot of the same elements of the DS game. And, oh, look at that! There's a mention for Game Boy Micro! Horny mice are not included, hopefully. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, definitely this was after the DS, because you see there's not the only 4 thing. So, there's that. And then here's the Game Boy Advance version of Lights, Camera, Pants. Plankton is not even in this version of the game, so it's kind of crazy that he's on the box, the side, and the top. So, lovely. I think he's in the manual, too. Oh, but they remembered to remove Krabs, though, because he's not playable in this one. I mean, he's still in it, but whatever. This was also developed by Way Forward and published by THQ. Not much to say there. And then, finally, to end off Game Boy in general, is the Game Boy Advance version of Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, published by THQ and developed by Vicarious Visions. Yeah, a lot of people hate this one too, but I think it's alright. Not great, but whatever. I've played worse. Again, my standards are set way too low. But yeah, that's all for Game Boy Advance. And finally, the bottom shelf is my small box PC games, including some like DVD case PC games and some loose CD cases. So, sorry if it's dark down here. It's getting late. I've been making this video for too long. Let's just finish this before it becomes like a 4-hour video. Hopefully not. At least under 3 hours, for God's sake. Here's Garfield. This is a port of the PS2 game that you saw towards the beginning of the video. Again, published by Hit Games. Same thing. This is the version that we ended up getting here in North America. We didn't get the PS2 version. Kind of funny that the cover does not reflect what happens in the game, unlike the PS2 version. Actually, no. I think that has the flip. Oh, you know, there's a flip thing, and it has it there. There you go. Spend a day in the life of everyone's favorite feline. Yeah, sure. There's that. And then, as I also mentioned, here is the PC version of Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties. This is the version that we ended up getting. There was also a DS version, which I don't own, but I have no comment on that. So, yeah, I've already explained the devs for this one, so I don't really need to do it again. Moving on, was this in the collection last time? I don't remember. This is Monopoly SpongeBob Edition. I know there was a board game for it, but this is a PC version of that. I think this was technically a digital download game on Nick.com, but yeah, it's part of the Nick Arcade. So, yeah, kind of interesting that they actually released it physically. It was developed by, actually, oh, here we go. Sarbakan, that's interesting. I don't think that's how you say it, but whatever. And this particular release was published by, well, it wasn't THQ now, was it? But there is not even a publisher on this. There's no way Nick Arcade published it. That was a website. Huh, that's interesting. If anyone can tell me who published this game, let me know. That's interesting. Moving on, we have Nicktoons Basketball. I wouldn't be surprised if this was meant to be a Nick Arcade game, but it just got made into a real physical game. It has one of those flip-in things, all the team characters and all the teams and all that. What you say there. This was developed by Imagine Engine and published by THQ. The back of the box claims it was developed by Digital Eclipse, which is not the case. I don't think they had any involvement in this game, although I'm not too sure. I haven't played this in a long time, so I can't comment. So, yeah. Here's yet another game that I think was supposed to be, or I wouldn't be surprised if it was meant to be a Nick.com downloadable game. That is Nicktoons Winners Cup Racing. I forgot about the S there. Yeah, Nicktoons Winners Cup Racing. Cheap-ass racing game. Not much to say about it. It has all the characters, all like the heroes and villains from Nicktoons Unite, so someone should just call this Nicktoons Unite Racing. Aha, that's not really funny, actually. But it was published by THQ and developed by, what is that? Pronto Games. Interesting. That's a rather interesting name. This game is cheap as all hell, and good luck trying to get it to run properly, at the very least. Moving on, we have probably the worst Rugrats game ever made, in my opinion. Rugrats All Growed Up. This is another game on my list of games that I will never cover for numerous reasons. Published by THQ and developed by the same people who did that Rocket Power PC game. I cannot pronounce them. Sapient. You know what? I don't really care. I don't care. I'm sorry. Not even for you, Rugrats. I couldn't care. Moving on with more Rugrats, we have the PC version of Rugrats Go Wild. This also has a flip case thingy. What would you even call this? I'm not even sure. Flip box. Not even a case. Whatever. I got this one. This is one of those risky chances of buying one of these games on eBay, and they don't show the whole thing. So, of course, I get this, and what the hell is this? So, yeah, I never got around to buying a new one because, well, honestly, I just don't care. As long as the front is fine, why should I care? Top's also a mess. Plus, I don't remember how much I paid for this either. It definitely wasn't, like, much. It was definitely cheap, but, you know, sometimes you gotta take what you can get, you know? So, yeah. Again, published by THQ, developed by Imagine Engine. That game was a mess. Here we have Rugrats Munchin Land, Wizard of Oz Rugrats. It was published by THQ and developed by No Wonder. This is a board game, kind of Mario Party. Not even Mario Party, I would say. It's like Actually, I think it's more like Sonic Shuffle, where you have to land on a space to trigger a mini game. I've never played Sonic Shuffle, so I can't comment. But yeah, Rugrats version of Wizard of Oz. They did that in the show. It's sad there was never a Rugrats version of, like, Disney's Return to Oz. Could you imagine? That'd be like the Rugrats movie on crack, basically. Because Rugrats movie was technically one of those, like, scary kids movies, like Brave Little Toaster, or like All Dogs Go to Heaven or something. I don't know. Either that, or I just haven't watched it in years for a number of reasons. I can't comment. Here is, before I make myself look like a bigger fool than I already have. I mean, this whole video kind of did it already, but screw it. Rugrats Totally Angelica Boredom Buster. PC Totally Angelica game, because totally the world needed that. I shouldn't have used the word totally in that sentence. This was also developed by No Wonder and was published by... Actually, it was published by Mattel, but this is a re-release by THQ. It's a small box re-release. I think they also did that with Rugrats in Paris, but I don't remember, so... I have to do it from this side, by the way, because this end is damaged. So, yeah, that's just lovely. And then we have Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. This is the PC version. There was a Game Boy Advance version, which I did grow up with, but I don't own it anymore. They actually got the people who were in the movie, which is crazy. I don't think they got Neil Fanning, who did Scooby-Doo. I think they just used archived audio. It was Neil Fanning, right? Well, I'm hoping I'm not thinking of somebody else. I'd have to look that up. I'm sure you'll see like a pop-up if I did get that wrong, but my memory is very shaky about these sort of things. I think I did a Let's Play for this last year for that Scooby-Doo marathon I did. It's very similar to like other games that Awe Productions developed. Yeah, that's who developed them, by the way, and it was published by THQ. Then we have Shrek on PC. This is not a port of the console game. That was later happened with Team Action. This was developed by No Wonder, and it is a 3D platformer instead of a beat-em-up. So, yeah, and it's published by Activision, because who else would publish Shrek games around that time? Here is SpongeBob Employee of the Month, published by THQ and developed by Awe Productions. This was SpongeBob's first point-and-click adventure, and it was a fine one, if you ask me. Very short, but what can you do? So, yeah, not much to say about that. And then we have SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom on PC. This was also developed by Productions and published by THQ. This is like a minigame compilation, so there's not really much to it. So, yeah, I don't really much to say about that one. And then here's one that I don't even... Was this here when I did the last video? I don't think so. This is SpongeBob Clash of Triton. I've known about this game for a long time. I just never found it until, like, last year, I think. So, yeah, this is... I don't know much about it. I tried it out a little bit just to, get an idea for it. And it's something where I might want to do a blind live stream for it. But from what I can gather, so far, this is a Rampage clone. A clone of that arcade game, Rampage. So, yeah, but I could be entirely wrong. I could be... Maybe that's just one level. Yeah, I have no idea. So... Yeah, this was developed by... Who developed this? Nova Entertainment? Were they the publishers or the developer? I have no idea. This is just a game that I found out about just recently. Not recently, I've known about it for a long time, but I just acquired it last year, and it's, well, it makes you think, it's all I'm saying. So, yeah, there's that. And then here we have the PC version of Lights, Camera, Pants, which was developed by, once again, Awe Productions, and published by THQ. This is probably my favorite of the point-and-click SpongeBob games. I think some people don't like this one, but I don't know. I like it. I personally do. That's just me. Yeah, so let's move on. Here's another SpongeBob game here. SpongeBob Nighty Nightmare, which was essentially the PC version of Creature from the Krusty Krab, although it came out before it. I have another one of these. SpongeBob doesn't have any legs. That's nice. Also developed by Awe Productions and published by THQ. Not much to say about that one. And then, let me move these out of the way. Let me just actually get these out of the way, because they're just kind of in the way. Here's My Sims on PC. This actually had, like, online features that probably don't even work anymore. So, yeah. This was by EA, I believe. I don't know if there was a specific developer or something. So, yeah. I've heard that there's been stuff going on with, like, the Sims name in general. Not like My Sims, but, like, Sims in general. I heard it hasn't been good, so I don't know. That's not my business, if you ask me. Then we have some other movie makers. Here's 3D Movie Maker, Microsoft 3D Movie Maker, by Microsoft, of course. Was there a developer for this? I have no idea. But, yeah, I don't have the original box for this. I have just the loose CD case. Same thing goes for this one, Nickelodeon 3D Movie Maker, also by Microsoft. I would like to own this one complete in box, but I think that's just a rare thing to come up. So I may never own it, so... yeah. Plus, even just the jewel case alone, complete, like, goes for a lot of money nowadays. I got this, like, cheap back in the day, so... yeah, I guess I lucked out in the long-term run. Almost there in terms of physical. Here we have the PC version of Jimmy Neutron versus Jimmy Negatron, developed by Aw Productions and published by THQ. I used to play a demo of this relentlessly as a kid. I loved the demo, but yeah, I've always had a soft spot for this game. It's not great by any means. It's similar to the Jimmy Neutron game on PC, but I personally enjoy it. I might have to do a revisit live stream for that at some point. Then we have Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules. I think I played a demo for this on the same disc. It's just that I never really clicked with this one. Shouldn't there be like a tagline up here or something? I feel like this is probably some crappy re-release if I had to make a guess. I've never really looked into it. This was developed by... I have no idea, actually. I think it was like Gorilla or something. It had a Gorilla in the name. And then it was published by THQ. Not much to say there. Then we have Fairly Odd Parents Shadow Showdown for PC. This is a flip-open thing. Let me just do that. There we go. This was developed by, I believe, Imagine Engine. Yep, fair enough. Very, very much so. And published by THQ. So, yep, there we go. And then we have some more SpongeBob here with the Game of Life SpongeBob edition, which comes in a DVD case. I think it actually has one of those. Does it? Yeah, it does. Okay, I wasn't sure for a second. Yeah, how do you like that? Also developed by the same people who did the Monopoly one. Sarbacan, or whatever the heck it's called. They did another SpongeBob game that was not released physically. It was based on Truth or Square. But for the life of me, I can't get that game to work on any of my operating systems, which is kind of sad, but whatever. These are board games, if you will. So, I mean, virtual board games, so it's not really that much. This is in a DVD case, by the way. And, again, it doesn't stay up, so I had to put some tape on there. So that's lovely, but, what can you do? And then, moving on, we have the PC version of the SpongeBob movie game, developed by Aw Productions and published by THQ. Another point-and-click game. Not much to say about it. So, there you go. I just dropped it. Yike. And then the last PC game here, physically, is the Wild Thornberrys movie game. Published by THQ and developed by Humansoft. Again. And, yeah, that's, just, you nearly lost it. Yike. Okay. Butterfingers all of a sudden. That is all of the, physical PC games I own. There are a couple of loose, Game Boy games I still have to show and some other stuff. So let's get that out of the way before we get on to the digital stuff. Here are some loose Game Boy cartridges that I do not have the original boxes for. This first one I wish I did. Donkey Kong on Game Boy. I finally got around to beating this. It's about stinking time. This has Super Game Boy stuff. I think it has, like, the whole shebang. Well, I mean, for the most part, it doesn't have, like, music, but then the credits is improved music. But, yeah, this is, like, the best Game Boy game ever made. What took them so long when it came to adding it to NSO, I have no idea. It got on there at the end of the day, so I shouldn't even be complaining. Here's Super Mario Land. This is the Player's Choice version or something. Yeah, the Player's Choice version. I wish I had the original. I don't know. Maybe if I ever plan on getting this game complete in box, maybe I'll try and aim for that, perhaps. Because, yeah, I'm not crazy about those re-release kind of things. It's just ugly. Then again, yeah, also, in general, look at that. Look at that, man. Jesus Christ, dude. Ugh. Okay, but yeah, enough of that. Enough about that. These are both Nintendo, obviously. And then we have Mickey Speedway USA on Game Boy Color. Developed by Rare, obviously, and published by Nintendo. I only own this so I can unlock Huey in the N64 version. So, yeah. That's all for loose Game Boy games. And let's take a look at some stuff that I'm not even sure qualifies as video games. Alright, so I'm not sure if these count, but these are plug-and-play games. I think I showed these off last time. Here's the first SpongeBob one. His eyes are scuffed up, but I really don't care. I think all of these are put out by Jack Specific. Do they even make plug-and-play games anymore? I don't think they do. So, yeah, just kind of like an Atari controller, but with SpongeBob's, in the shape of SpongeBob's face. And then his nose is the joystick. That must hurt, actually. Imagine if somebody grabbed your nose and started moving it around like a stick, honestly. That's, That's very uncomfortable, wouldn't it? But that's the first one. This one right here is actually a re-release of not that one, but a different one called Jellyfish Dodge. I actually thought this was the other one I just showed you, but it wasn't, and yeah, that was kind of a big screw-up. It did have a different case when it first came out of, like, SpongeBob, and, like, the joystick was a jellyfish. I meant to show a picture of that last time. Let's hope that, dear God, I remember to do it this time. But then, oh, was that a different video I'm thinking of? I'm not so sure. I might have been thinking of an entirely different video. But, yeah, this is, not much to this one. Would I ever buy the original release? I don't know. My question is, if they were going to re-release that one specifically, why would they make it look like, one that had already released? Like, that's really stupid. I don't understand that at all. So, yeah, not much to say about that one. Moving on, we have a Nicktoons one. Which I always like the design of this thing. It's awkward as all hell, but I always thought it was pretty cool looking. Is that on or... Okay, now it's off. Okay, I guess it's been stuck on this whole time. But yeah, I've always liked the design of this one. The games on it are pretty meh, though. You may notice this thing, that's on top of it. Let me try and pull it out here. This is a cartridge, or I guess a, what was this thing called again? I don't remember what this was called. A game key. Not to be confused with that digital shit, or like not digital shit on Switch 2 or whatever. I don't know the whole situation. I'm not paying attention to it. This includes extra games on it. It's like a cartridge or something. Yeah, good idea to have that exposable to kids. I'm sure they won't do anything weird with that circuitry right there. But, yeah, it just sticks in top, and it, I think there's another SpongeBob one that has this, but, oh no, I have it the other way around. When it doesn't have batteries in it, but when you power it on, this thing lights up. Did I show that last time? I don't remember. It doesn't have batteries in it now, obviously, so, yeah, can't really say much about that. And then, finally, for these stupid plug-and-play games, we have, Nicktoons Summer Camp. Yes, this is actually what it's called. Look at this joystick. Ain't that fine? That's fine and dandy like sour candy. And then you have this big button here, which, you like that noise? I don't know. One thing that I always found weird was that SpongeBob's head sticks out of the plastic. So, like, you know, see, it just nudges out like that. So you can kind of, like, grip it and then just, like, you know, you kind of get your hands stuck on it. So it's like almost like you're gripping it. And it pokes into your hand like that, which, is somewhat uncomfortable. So, yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. This is like the outcast of the Nicktoons games, if you will. The one that nobody remembers, the one that no one talks about. Does this have batteries in it? No, it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, that's all for plug-and-play games. So now let's move on to something that I'm not even sure qualifies as games. And then finally over here in this little dark area, we have these. These are things for a thing called InteracTV, which is like a game thing for DVD players. It only had like a year's run, less than a year perhaps, and only 11 games were made for the damn thing. And these are all of them, by the way. So, since they're all produced by the same people, I'm just gonna breeze right through them. Some of them may be questionable themes, but that's just because I was trying to get all of them just because they were all dirt cheap. Here we have Barney and Friends Celebrate with Barney, Scooby-Doo Mystery at the Snack Factory, Blue's Clues Numbers Everywhere, Dora the Explorer Mixed Up Seasons, Spider Sunny Patch Friends Best Buggy Adventures, Jesus Christ, Sesame Street Pack, which includes Journey to Ernie, Elmo's World, and Cookie Monster's Letter of the Day. Here's the starter pack with Elmo's World, Dora, and SpongeBob. Here's the Clifford's Puppy Days pack, Friends Help Out. The SpongeBob pack, Krusty Krab Adventures. A Nicktoons triple pack, I think that's actually what it's called. Triple play with Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, and SpongeBob. And then finally another Dora pack here. And yeah, that's, this was for children if it ain't obvious, so, these barely qualify as games. They're more like DVDs, so that's why I just skimmed right through them. So let's get on to digital games. And no, those bingo games right there don't count. Alright, first up for digital, we have PS3. I do have an HDMI splitter, but I really don't feel like pulling it out. So I'm just going to record the screen like this for this system, and then everything else will be captured. So first up we have Monsters Inc. on PS2. This is what I meant by, when I sold it physically, because I had this. We have Portal 2. I'd probably play it on Steam nowadays, but whatever. Here's Toy Story Mania. Not as good as the ride. I think the Wii version was even better than this. And then the Simpsons arcade game, which I really hope one day gets a proper re-release that actually stays available for more than a year. But that's enough for PS3. Let's move on to Wii. Alright, here we are on Wii. Just keep in mind that any games that I'm showing digitally, it might not be all of them I have. There may be like one or two that I've bought, but I just don't have downloaded at the moment, so just keep that in mind. So let's just start here on the Wii. We have Donkey Kong on NES. We have Donkey Kong Jr. on NES. We have Donkey Kong 3 on NES. We got Mario Brothers on NES. We got Wrecking Crew. I was going to cover this game this year, but I never got around to doing it. And then we got Super Mario Brothers 1. Lost Levels. I think that was the first time I ever played that. 2 and 3. And that's all for NES. Then we have Super Mario World. Super Mario Kart. This was one of the first Virtual Console games I got. Super Mario 64. Mario Kart 64. This is the second one I got on Virtual Console. Mario Golf. Super Smash Brothers. Why was this not on Wii U Virtual Console? And why is it not on NSO yet? I have no idea. Mario Party 2. Mario Tennis. Paper Mario. And Dr. Mario Online Remix. So, that's all for Wii. Let's move on to Steam. Alright, here we are on Steam. We have Bendy and the Dark Revival. I used to be in a big Bendy phase, but I'm not really anymore. Then we have Bendy and the Ink Machine. Bendy Lone Wolf, which I tried doing a live stream for this year, but it went horribly wrong. And yeah, that day was a mess. And then we have Boris and the Dark Survival, which is just kind of a precursor to this one, to my knowledge. I think I did like 2 videos for this like years ago, like back in 2020. I don't remember. Then we have Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I think I got this one on sale. Cuphead, I got that one on sale. I've slacked off on this one. I really need to give Cuphead a second chance. Then we have Garfield Kart. The curiosity killed me. I finally checked out Garfield Kart. And how long have I played this for? Only 13 minutes! That's hilarious, and that wasn't within the last 2 weeks. That's impressive. That's like a $5 game right there. So I mean, like, what was I expecting? Gary's Mod, of course, good old G Mod. Lego Worlds. I think this is the first game I got on Steam, and yeah, 2.5 hours. I didn't really click with that one. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 1 specifically. I got that one on sale. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2. I got that one on sale. Portal 1. Portal's such a great game. Portal 2, of course, gotta have that one as well. Showdown Bandit, I'm sure nobody remembers what the heck this thing is. This was a game made by the same people who made Bendy. It kind of flatlined. I don't know the whole story, I really don't care. Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Spyro Reignited Trilogy on Steam. I got that one on sale as well. VR Chat. Don't ask too many questions, please. And then Wallace and Gromit's Grand Adventures, which comes with like 4 standalone games. It's a point and click kind of thing, sort of, except it is it's definitely like there's a lot of puzzles in them, and it's really hard. Like clearly this was meant for like, this was meant for the Englishmen and not for some stupid Americans to figure out, because either I'm an idiot or this was not meant for American brains, because I couldn't figure out half this shit. I've only beaten episode 1. These other episodes I haven't even touched yet, because it's the first episode made me feel like such an idiot. So, yeah, but that's all for Steam. Let's move on to Wii U. Alright, Wii U, as I said, I backed up some of these games digitally, with methods I'm not going to explain, but focusing on the ones that I don't have physically. Dr. Luigi, which was one of the last games I bought from the eShop before it went down for good on Wii U. NES Remix, never got the sequel. Mario Party 10. Minecraft Wii U Edition, I only bought that for the Mario Pack, if you can believe that. Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Mario Golf, Donkey Kong 64, Mario Party 2, Mario Tennis, Paper Mario, Super Mario Advance, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3, Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. I don't care what anyone says, that is a phenomenal remake of Kirby's Adventure. I will die on that hill. Game & Watch Gallery 4, Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Mario Pinball Land. That was the biggest mistake. I absolutely despise that game. Mario Party Advance, Super Mario 64 DS, Mario Kart DS, Mario & Luigi Partners in Time, New Super Mario Bros., Mario Hoops 3-on-3, Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, March of the Minis, Yoshi's Island DS. I bought this and yet never got around to playing it. Yeah, that says a lot, doesn't it? And then Mario Party DS. That is all for Wii U. Let us move on to 3DS. Alright, moving on to 3DS, I have 3D Classics Kirby's Adventure, Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, WarioWare Snapped. Truth be told, I wanted to try and do a one-off for this, but so far the camera just will not cooperate, so yeah, that one's, I'm not sure if that one's on the table. It's like halfway off and on the table. Then we have Mario vs. Donkey Kong Minis March Again, Mario Clock. I think there was a calendar version of this as well, but I never got it. Dr. Mario Express, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, Yoshi, that's a different one, Pac-Man on NES, Super Mario Land 2, Kirby's Dream Land, Donkey Kong, Game & Watch Gallery 1, Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, Game & Watch Gallery 2, Game & Watch Gallery 3, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, Mario Kart Super Circuit, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Am I a 3DS ambassador or not? That's for me to know and for you to find out. Let's move on to Xbox Series X. Alright, here we are on Xbox Series X. These are all the digital games I own. I did mention I owned the second and third kart racer games digitally. Did I? I think I forgot to mention that. I know I did with All-Star Brawl 2. I just hid those since it's not necessary for this video. But we have Miss Pac-Man, this is like arcade game series or something. I think that's the full name. Yes. Bendy and the Ink Machine, Disneyland Adventures, DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing, Minecraft, Pac-Man Championship Edition 2. I think that was a gift from Squidward Tentacles in 1997, so if you're watching this, thank you again for that. Power Wash Simulator. I bought that specifically for the SpongeBob pack. I still need to get the Shrek and Wallace and Gromit packs. I still need to get on that. Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2. I've had this for about a year. I have not gotten around to finally playing it. I've heard it was like one of the greatest Sonic games ever made, so I need to get on that at some point. Sonic the Fighters, Underpants Slam, SpongeBob Underpants Slam, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I think some of these Sonic games aren't even available anymore, so I guess I lucked out when I did. But let's move on to the final system I'll be covering for this video, and that is the Switch 2. Alright, last but not least, digital games on Switch and Switch 2. I actually have a whole separate group made for this video. So we have Arcade Archives games, starting out the whole thing. We have Dig Dug, Donkey Kong 3, Donkey Kong Jr., Frogger, Mappy, Mario Brothers, Pac-and-Pal, Pac-Land, Pac-Man, Pac-Mania, Sky Skipper, Super Pac-Man versus Super Mario Brothers. You can see where I went wrong there. Versus Wrecking Crew, Bendy and the Ink Machine. Again, we're not discussing that again. Game Boy, Nintendo Classics Game Boy, Nintendo Classics Game Boy Advance, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. We've already discussed the whole thing with that. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Minecraft, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl on Switch. This was, I think I got that on sale. I don't remember how much it was for. Nickelodeon Kart Racers. We addressed the whole thing with that. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 and Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. I got both of these for a steal. I got both of these for $10 in total. Like, they were both like 90% off. I feel like I should have been arrested for how cheap I got these games for. It was an absolute freaking steal. The only problem is now I had to go through the trouble of 100%ing Kart Racers 3 again. I'm close, but not entirely there. Nintendo Classics, Nintendo 64. Nintendo Classics Mature 17 plus Nintendo 64. Nintendo Classics, Nintendo Entertainment System. I know I'm saying it backwards, but I really don't give a crap. Nintendo Classics, Nintendo GameCube, Rugrats Adventures in Gameland. Thanks to Limited Run, the physicals did not come out at the same time as the digital release, so I thought, hey, like what I did with Titans of the Tide, if I have to wait to get the physical on Xbox, I might as well buy it on a different platform digitally for now. So, yeah. Nintendo Switch Online, Sega Genesis, it still says that for that. That's hilarious. I forgot that was a thing, honestly. Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, I got that one on sale. I don't remember how much I got it for. SpongeBob Krusty Cook-Off something. I forgot the full name for it. This is a port of a mobile game. I don't remember how much it retailed for. I think it was like, I think I got it for like $5 on sale. I got it cheap. I didn't want to pay much for it. SpongeBob The Cosmic Shake. I got this one on sale, although not as crazy of a sale as the second and third Kart Racers games. I think this one was like 50% off, which, you know, was enough for me to be like, sure, why not? I'll buy it. And then Titans of the Tide. I discussed that whole thing. I refuse to discuss it again. Super Mario Odyssey. And then Nintendo Classics, Super Nintendo. So, yeah. I would like to get Super Mario Odyssey physically, but the problem is when Nintendo launched the Switch 2, they started cracking down on games that had been pirated. So even if you didn't pirate the game yourself, if the system can detect if it's pirated, and I heard it's not that hard to resolve, but it's still not a thing that I'm going to want to deal with. So, whoopity-doo. But alas, I think it's time we conclude this video. And that's it. Yeah, I'm hoping to dear God that didn't take as long as last time. If I had to make a guess, it probably took longer. Hopefully not too longer, but hopefully, you know, this is the kind of video where people can watch whatever they want at their own pace or whatever. So, with all this said, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on social media. I'll have links to those down in the description below, and I'll be seeing you all soon.